Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hear the rhythm of the drum. It's a warning sound we play across the Cape of Good Hope, nearly 400 years away. They crossed the mighty ocean with a plan they thought was smart, to confuse and to distract and break a good man's heart. Brum and his wicked crew, they step upon the shore, feeling like they got the truth, but they just want much more. A mission to mislead on South African ground, but the truth is a lion, and the lie's gonna be unbound. Oh, the Lion Dutchman, he come a long, long way to tell his wicked story and darken up the day. He tell a lie to get inside, yeah, invade the space of all, but the righteous stand up tall and refuse to take the fall. The Lion Dutchman, his story feels so weak, just a nuisance to himself with the tall tales that he speaks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He came right to the airport where the refugees wait in line, sticking camera in their face, transgressing all the time. He traveled length and breadth, from the mountain to the sea, trying to discredit Donald Trump and the land of liberty. Rocked up uninvited to the Colonel's big affair in Pretoria at the meet and greet, with mischief in the air. Tell a lie about the president, he whisper with a grin, but the Colonel got character and he knows where to begin. Oh, oh, the Lion Dutchman, yeah, he come a long, long way to tell his wicked story and darken up the day. He tell a lie to get inside, yeah, invade the space of all, but the righteous stand up tall and refuse to take the fall. The Lion Dutchman, his story feels so weak, just a nuisance to himself with the tall tales that he speaks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He tried to set the trap, yeah, he tried to left his bait, but the Colonel would not bend, man, so he sealed his own sad fate. Cut the truth right out the footage, like Lenny Riefenstahl. He want a fairy tale picture, but the camera cannot lie at all. He bamboozled the pig farmer, say he got an appointment. See Papi got balderdash, that's no reality. But listen what the briefs say, listen to the news spread wide. The people keep on coming where the golden gates abide. They're coming to America, land of the free. You see, no power in the world can stop their destiny. So take your tired stories, Lion Dutchman, and go home. Yeah, your season is over, you can reap the wind you've sown. Oh, oh.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but hating thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello folks, welcome back. It's Monday, December 15th, 2025, just 10 days before Christmas. The season in full swing, just 10 days before. All right, sounds good. So, I find it interesting, just very quickly here, dealing with something here. There are a number of people who've come to my program, and I don't understand the nature of some people. We saw this with a guy in Arizona. For people, it's all or nothing. Some people, they're not reasonable people. They don't want to have discourse. It's either you do it my way or their way. When I first started the program, I was asked if I could have moderators. People asked me to have moderators, and I didn't really understand what the moderators were at the time. Even though I had a YouTube channel for years, I never really did lives before that, watch them or had them. I sort of guessed. I mean, understood because I watched Ronaldo's program. But anyway, so I was asked to have moderators. I had a moderator on there. And I had a moderator who didn't like what people said because the moderator disagreed with what they said. So the moderator began removing people's comments and giving them timeouts. And I chastised that moderator after that happened a few times because I said, if you don't like what they're saying, that's unfortunate, but it's their right to say it. They weren't abusive. They weren't racist. They didn't insult anybody. They just disagree. And if people can disagree on this channel, happy to have disagreements, adult disagreements. So that moderator took their toys and threw them out of the pram and left my channel and just rudely disappeared. I had another person who came into my chat all the time and moaned and complained about their financial situation. Woe is me, help me, help me, help me. That person, I worked with Ronaldo to raise money to fix a vehicle for that person. And the reward I got was that they disappeared from my channel after they got the 10,000 Rand. Never saw the person again. Yet they go on other channels with 3 or 4 people and promote them. So that person just used me. And so this happens. Recently, we had a couple people that were misbehaving in the chat when a large number of colored viewers had started watching my program, more than I usually had. And those people said some rude things, and well, someone gave them a timeout. And so the person has chosen to attack me personally because they're just shameful. I don't know what their problem is. I didn't attack the person. They got angry as if I am sitting here controlling everything like a puppet master. When my moderators do something inappropriate, I will say something. In this case, it wasn't inappropriate. The person repeatedly said something that offended people, and people asked them to stop it, and they did it intentionally and doubled down on it. I had another person who's been a long-time viewer and someone I think is a friend, but they said stuff was borderline racist. They were given a timeout, and they haven't left. The person hasn't acted like a fool and thrown their toys out of the pram. This tendency by South Africans in particular, but also Americans, had an American who watched my show because he came over from John B. Wells, and they disagreed with my view on this incessant, obsession with pedos and the Epstein situation. I got tired of people using my chat to talk about the Epstein files. It wasn't the topic of the video. It wasn't the topic of the stream. I covered the story. It was done and dusted. And frankly, it bordered on the obsessive. People obsessed with this pedo story. And, this isn't a channel for that. You want to do that? Then you need to go elsewhere. That guy said, I'm out of here. So fine, screw you, take off. Really, the juvenile behavior people, listen, there are plenty of things that Byron Shepard says that I don't agree with. That doesn't mean I don't watch his program. Doesn't mean I don't interact with him. Ronaldo has said a few things that I disagree with, and doesn't mean I don't agree with him. I don't show up there. It amazes me how ridiculous people can be, and it's a shame. Also, there are people who expect things from me, and I don't deliver it because I'm not seeking a relationship with people. I've had people who are looking for some sort of romantic relationship, and when they don't get it, they foot sick and take off. If that's your purpose for being here, I'm sorry. That's not why I'm doing this. If I'm seeking a romantic relationship, it certainly won't be over social media like this. I mean, the juvenile behavior of people in general, but South Africans in particular, is unbelievable. I mean, people who we went out of their way to protect them when people were being demeaning to them. And then the person actually writes back to me and says, I never asked for your protection. Okay, all right. My point is that you went on another channel and rudely disrespected me and wrote nasty things about me on another person's channel because you're not man enough or woman enough to do so on this channel. Childish behavior. It's unbelievable. I have never done anything to harm these people. I've never done anything disrespectful to these people. They're just assholes. Just assholes. World is full of assholes. Well, there are a lot of people who use Anton, and I don't see them here, but I don't see them actually. Yeah, well, hang on. Let me look at my screen capture before I denigrate someone here unintentionally. I'm not going to call them out by name, but I want to see if they're here in the chat, because here it is. Let me look at the screen capture. Hang on, where are we at here? Yeah, in fact, a couple of those people that I've seen on the other channels that have said nasty things about me are actually in the chat right now and chatting. And you know who you are. And shame on you. I've never called you out. I've never harmed you. I've never done anything to you. It takes a real pair of brass balls to denigrate someone on another channel and not be a man and say it here. To not be a man or woman and say it here. It's shameful. Unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe this is why the Afrikaners will never triumph. In particular, because there's always ferraias in your midst. People who say one thing to your face and they go behind your back and stab you in the back. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, there were recent comments on another channel in which a couple people stabbed me in the back. No, it wasn't you, Charles. No, they're in the chat. At least two of them in the chat right now who did this. They had the audacity to say evil things about me. So, you know who you are, and you're a disgraceful human being. And you're not a man, you're not a woman. You're a coward. And what do you get off on doing that? Calling me arrogant? If you think I'm arrogant, then don't be here. If you don't like the way you're being treated, then don't be here. No, it wasn't you, Mad Max. No, Sammy, it's becoming more progressively more pronounced. And why? I don't know why. What's going on here? What the problem is? No, they have no integrity. Backstabbers, exactly, Marissa. Lots of backstabbers. And I could reveal people here. You know, I could give their names up. I'm not going to do that. I'll give them a chance to behave like adults and you know, come back to the fold if they like. No, it's constant. Yeah. Oh, eloquent Neanderthal. Afrikaners have always been that way. A small segment of your society. A small segment of every society is like that. No, I'm not. Quit saying it's not me, because eventually I'll be running out of people's names and you'll figure it out by default. So stop saying it wasn't me. Exactly. Well, some of them come in here and pretend to be active members or be people who are here. Some of them come here and they want to participate, you know, and then they go and they say things on the channels. It's just, anyway. Look, it's the reason I say is because it's not a passing. There's Hendo. Okay. Yeah, they fail to realize they're being watched in all these groups. Yep. Martin, it wasn't you. It wasn't you. If it was you, I didn't see you do it. I don't know if you're telling a joke or if you did it. Don't say it was you if you didn't do it. People start slamming you. Exactly, Philip. Process elimination. So it feels like high school again. It does. And I'm dealing with the same thing at the Veterans Organization. So let me explain something here to you guys, just really quickly, just so you get a kick out of this. So I know you were joking, Martin. What I'm saying is, yeah, don't expose them here if you know who they were, okay? Just give them time. It wasn't me, exactly. So, no, it's not Matthew Dixon. No. So, at the Veterans Club, I was treated abusively, and I responded eventually after the nonsense, but I was treated abusively in a recent meeting this past Thursday, all in advance of me going to Washington, D.C. to talk to very powerful, influential people in the U.S. government, which is very disturbing. But anyway, I was accused of things. One thing, I'd been asked to allow a social committee, and I said, no, that's a good idea. And then I was asked, what's the structure of it? So I was set up. I was asked, what's the structure of it? I said, we should keep it informal. And I said an officer of the post would open and close the event when we have meetings, and that the volunteers who have each specific activity for like a holiday event or some other event we have up, they would lead the discussion. And that's it, informal. And then I got attacked and accused of being a dictator and trying to shut them down. Shut who down? If you don't work for the organization, you're not officer of the place. You offer to volunteer your time. We offered to listen. And in the same breath, just before that, they accused us of not having communication. There's a communication problem here. I tried to solve that by making sure that one of the officers of the post was present. Didn't say it had to be me. We have 5 officers of the post. It said an officer of the post needs to be should be present. And I was accused of trying to control things. You can't police these people, particularly when they have an agenda. Another thing is regarding the social committee. They said, how can we set up? I said, well, you can have a sign-up list. And they said, okay. And I said, I'll make the sign-up list. They said, okay. So I made it, and I had an error on the bottom because I used a spreadsheet, and they didn't change the the header and footer. So I had to make another one, and they're like, well, when are you going to do it? And okay, I'll get to it. And I got to it, and I put it in the administrative office for the building so that people's personally identifiable information, because of phone number and email address, is on there. I said, so it won't be out in the open area where anybody can see it. You have to go in the office to sign up for it. And at the Facebook post, which they asked for, I put in a Facebook post, I mentioned that if the office is closed, because frequently it's closed, there's only one temporary interim manager there. If the office is closed, you can give your information to the bartender on duty, and the bartender will ensure it gets on the list. So that was in response to the request. At the meeting, they accused me of, hijacking the process. And I said, what do you mean? Well, you put the list in the office, no one can get to it, so we can't sign up for it. And I said, no, I put the list in the office to protect people. I don't need to put a list out here with a woman's phone number and her email address so some stalker starts stalking her. That's irresponsible. I'm looking out for the welfare. These people can't connect 1 and 2. They can't connect 1 and 2 and see the outcome. They just think they know everything, and it's beyond frustrating. It's the same thing when it comes to refugee program. You got people who don't know what they're talking about. Oh, this is this, so that means this. Well, possibly, but your analysis is flawed for the following 5 reasons. And the same thing here. So they wanted me to make a list. I made a list. I was a few days behind. That's fair. I'll say that. I was probably about 4 or 5 days, maybe a week later than I intended to get the updated list out. Put it in there on a clipboard, and no one signed up for it. And then they said, well, that's my fault because I hid it from them. I didn't hide it from anybody. And by the way, on the Facebook page, what they were screaming for it to be updated, I, at like 1 o'clock in the morning, updated the Facebook page and clearly stated what to do. They simply didn't read the Facebook page. All they did was respond to the email I sent. And then here's the cheek of this too, folks. I know you're here for the news. We're going to get to the news in a few seconds. But here's the cheek of this too. In this meeting, I was rudely interrupted by someone with no respect for someone senior to them, someone in a position, just a very insistent me, attention-seeking thing, rudely interrupted and told, well, you don't use email. Well, I do use email. I do use email. The board members communicate via email and text messages and phone calls, but primarily with important issues by email. So there's a record of it and we have it and there's attachments there. And I said, yes, we do. And I was called a liar. I was called a liar by this idiot. And then after that, a person said, when are you going to hire someone? I said, well, that's for the board to decide. Well, we need a manager. I said, well, this place is running better now than it has in the 6 years I've been a member. To which I got, pfft. And then the person says, well, I have resumes. I'm like, why are you getting resumes? You're not an officer of the post. You're not the manager. You're not the person who decides. Do you have these resumes? Can you give me? Well, you already have these resumes. I'm like, no, I don't. I've had a conversation with one person about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, who came to the post, who wanted to apply for the job, gave them their contact information. I wrote to them that night or the next morning, and have never heard from that person again. They never called me. I gave them my contact information. They never contacted me. I've never heard back from them. I'm not going to hunt these people down. I have other things to do. If they're going to give me his resume, then I'll look at it. So the resume in question was a resume that this person is working with someone else to get them to become the manager. I don't know why. But the person said I'm a liar because I have the resume. I said, I've never seen a resume. I have a copy of a plan that person put together. They volunteered an idea to come up with some ideas to improve the organization, but I don't have a resume. No one ever gave me a resume. What are you talking about? And I was called a liar. I was called a liar 3 times. Not a liar. It's disgraceful. These people, they have no honor whatsoever. Yeah, Chris, I was called a liar right there in front of people 3 times. I got a person. So let me, I'm going to tell you that. So guys, here, let me hear this. Okay. Stick with me here and we'll get to the news. Please be patient just to show you the frustration I deal with because you all have no idea what I'm dealing with. By the way, earlier this morning, I called the Social Security Administration of Richmond, Virginia, and it's automated. You can't talk to a person. So I was trying to confirm whether they have walk-in appointments or not because a refugee had an appointment for the 17th of got an email, and apparently I don't know how they missed their appointment. It's only the 15th. So now they're being told their appointment is in 22 January, but they don't have enough money to pay for rent to get them into February. So their case officer is not making any effort from what I can see. So I tried to call the case officer. The Refugee Assistance Center has an automated system too. And that automated system, I left a voice message 2 hours ago and haven't received a call back. I can't imagine the office in Richmond, Virginia is that busy for this refugee assistance place. So I'm doing that. Okay. Now let me go back to what I did Friday. So Friday in the morning, I went to bed about 3 o'clock. I got up, I did an interview, Biz News, and then I got attacked by some scumbag on Biz News saying, oh, this guy just hates South Africa. He doesn't even have the human decency to say anything about the victims in Bondi Beach. Excuse me? The video was filmed in the early morning hours of Friday, my time. The Bondi Beach murders took place on Sunday afternoon in Australia, nearly 3 days later. So I don't know. I'm not senior von Rensburg. So that was that. I went to the Veterans Organization and found out a few more problems, addressed those with my volunteers who were there from the officers. Then I drove to D.C., did those lives in D.C., did my broadcast there, had my meeting with government officials, then drove home. Got back to the Veterans Organization at 8:20 in the evening. So hang on, folks. It gets good. To show you the petty nonsense I deal with here. So it was a very busy evening. The night before, I had been asked by someone, hey, we can get a singer in here tomorrow for free. He just worked for tips. Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. Let's just make sure the manager's okay with it. We have a birthday party going on in the back. We don't want to disturb that because they paid for the venue. So it was all worked out. The guy came in. I got there at 8:20. There was about 75 to 100 people at the bar. It was pretty busy. It was good. So I walk in and checking around. I checked the birthday party. It looked like it was going well. Came back out to the bar area. And I'm talking to someone at the bar when two guys grab me and say, hey, both of them. And they say, listen, that lady's wearing a hat. Hats are not allowed inside. There's a sign outside. It's a permanent sign made in plexiglass that's written on. It says no hats. It's been there for years. Anyway, so I first thought was, well, why don't you say something? I didn't tell them that. But you remember, it's your prerogative to ask someone to take their hat off. So they turned to me like I'm supposed to take care of it. So I did. Otherwise, they'd complain and say I don't do anything. So I went to the lady. I said, sorry, are you part of the musical performance? Are you part of the band? She said, no. I said, okay, well, if you were, then you can wear a hat. But otherwise, you can't wear a hat unless it's a special occasion here or it's the service cap. So she said, okay. She took it off. She left. I'm standing at the bar talking to the bartender about something. She came back a couple minutes later. She wasn't impolite. She wasn't rude, but she introduced herself, and then she lectured me on what the national bylaws were for the Veterans of Foreign Wars and says she's allowed to wear a hat indoors. I said, well, that may be the case, but this is a private club in Pennsylvania, and this club decided years ago, before I became a member, that you can't wear hats. I like to wear hats. I've got 1,000 hats. I would wear a hat all the time if I couldn't hear, but I'm not allowed to. And then she lectured me about, well, my son serves here, and my daughter serves here, and this one's here in the military. And I'm sorry, what the fuck do you think I am? 36-year veteran, multiple combat tours. You're going to stand here and lecture me about this? Didn't say anything. And she moved on. So I'm sure I'll be hearing whining about that. Then a little bit later, thank you, Anna Kruger, for 35 grand. Then a little bit later, I'm walking around and notice a lot of people in the place that I've never seen before, which is good, potentially. But the problem is that if you're not a member of the private club, by Pennsylvania law, you must be a guest, and be a guest, you must be signed into the guest book. So about 75 to 100 people, I went to the guest book and looked. Maybe 18 people had signed in that evening, but the date wasn't even included in the sheet. So I just assumed it was a date, and I wrote the date up there. 18 people. Clearly, half those people or more weren't members of that club. Now, that's a problem, if that's true. If I'm correct in my assessment, that's true, because they're not allowed to operate there. They can't come in there. So I noticed that. But while I was staying at the front talking to some other guests to see how they were doing before I left to go home, I noticed someone who's been banned from the establishment because of their conduct behind me. I heard a voice and I looked at my shoulder. I turned back and the guy sitting by goes, I know exactly what you're thinking. Yeah, you're right. That's who you think it is. Someone that's banned, not allowed to use the place, lost their privileges. So I just didn't say anything about it. I went back, checked on the birthday party. It was doing okay again. I came back out and I saw that person. And now it's left to me. There's at least 40 or 50 members of the club that know this person is banned, bartenders who know the person's banned, and a bartender serving this person. So that's not allowed. So I walked over and said hello, and the person said hello. They're with two guests who come frequently that I like very much, and these guests who were there were talking to this lady. And I said hello. She said hello. I said, I've received 3 complaints from people recently that you've been in here at the bar and you're not allowed to use it. And she told me, well, I was in here on Dome Buck Night. You saw me. Well, she may very well have been on Dome Buck Night in the building because she's a member of auxiliary, so she can still come to the building but can't patronize the bar. It's a private club. And I don't recall seeing her. So maybe I did, but I sure as don't recall seeing her. And if I saw her and I greeted her, then it just went over my head who it was. Anyway, so whatever the case is, I said, well, you're not allowed to be in here. You don't have canteen privileges. Well, I'm here with the birthday party. I said, but the birthday party is in the back of the building, in the public area. This is a private club. You're not allowed to be up here. She said, well, how do we fix this? I said, well, you can finish your drink and then I ask you politely to leave so that we don't have to take any other action. She said, no, that's not what I'm talking about. How do I get my privileges back? I said, well, you can appeal to the board and ask them to consider bringing your issue back up to the veterans who vote on whether you have membership or not, or privilege or not. So I was straightening out some files here, and I went through the but the Facebook post that she posted a couple years ago. In there, this woman accused me of being a thief, said that I'd stolen money from the club. Mind you, when she was posting this stuff, I'd been the commander for less than 2 months. And one of those months, I was in South Africa. So I don't know how she would know that I stole money and how she would prove I stole money. Of course, I didn't steal any money. I've taken a lot of money out of my own pocket to keep the place open from going closed. And she accused the board of theft. She accused all these nasty things she said about people. And she has the audacity to come in there, use her club where she knows she's banned. She has a letter. She received it by certified mail and do this. So to her credit, she did politely interact with me and she did politely leave. But now I'm going to hear about that. And of course, I'll be accused of, being abusive. But all I did was follow the rules. People can't follow the rules. And as far as the people in the club, I've notified the board. Guys, you have no idea the stuff I put up with. No idea. No idea. Jan Filion, what are you talking about, Malawi? There's no Maori in Malawi. What are you talking about? Oh, boy. Anyway, that's just the world we live in. People are just shameful. I guess Peter Feldman got a phone call. Congratulations on that. It was Renee, someone here in the comments. There are two people in the comments that misbehaved that have been talking me down to other locations. Mad Max has given a super chat. Let's see what that's all about. FBI stopped a planned terrorist bombing in Los Angeles for New Year's Eve. Okay, here we go. Pro-Palestinian group. Yeah, well, we let the Palestinians in. Oh, it's not a religion. It's not a people. Really? Okay.
The FBI now reports that it's disrupted a planned New Year's Eve terror attack in Los Angeles. 4 suspects in custody. The FBI identifying them as members of a pro-Palestine extremist group. They're suspected of planning coordinated IED attacks targeting 5 different locations in Los Angeles. But based on the reporting now, that plot has been foiled. We will wait for more out of LA or out of Washington, D.C. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go. All right. Marissa, I did, but age 40, I decided not just to be nasty comments for commies and for libtards. What? Angry Santa wants to steal Christmas. Yeah, some people can't think past their nose. You're right. Hey, Fleshin, what's going on? There's an OG. Fleshin. Garrett is an OG. Yeah. Chris Swanepoel's an OG. Yep. That song, Colonel Chris, that says stupid people must wear a sign. You like that one? Further than the Frank Zanu Project Rethink. Wills. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Buckets of rain. Washington State's got rain today. Okay. Deductions might be logic, but necessarily true. We don't know everything in the process. Logic deduction is dangerous. Exactly, Philip. They vote in terrorists now. They moan and grunt like orcs that the world must help. Exactly. We're going to talk a lot about Bondi Beach today, folks, so hang around for that. Don't go anywhere. Also, I might get interrupted at some point. The technician is supposed to arrive between 12 and 2 p.m. You can see it's 11:30 my time. That means at any time after 30 minutes, the technician could arrive to investigate my internet issue, which continues to recur. Denise Herselman says, sorry if it happens again, and shame. I get used to abused by people because I'm gullible. Well, I'm not gullible, and I'm not naive, but I am forgiving, and I am also kind. It's hot, says Vest. So it's not just Afrikaners that have too many chiefs, too little Indian problem. Yeah, you're right about that, Sean, out here. Okay, so where is our judge? Make the charge and sentence him. Without naming who you are, your behavior has been shameful. This isn't confession. You're not getting 2 Hail Marys and a Mother May I, but you are being judged, and you should clean up your behavior. If you don't like what I have to say, then don't be here or challenge me on it. Don't run off like a little biatch and lie about me and spread nonsense about me on other channels. Okay, so I send him stuff than bothering him. Marissa says she'd rather have Hendo send me stuff. The Discord group, I don't know if Hendo has it. Some people really suffer from selective hearing and half-baked stories and wonders about. No, they do. They some selective hearing. They hear what they want to hear. They form a position. And that was a question I raised to the people at the Veterans Organization. Why do you people presume everything is from a position of malice? I mean, these are the same people that when I was in England, I came back, the board in my absence, an issue came up about the misuse of the pool table. We have a pool table, nice pool table. Benny Johnson, I just covered that. Why are you sending the same one? So I came back in October, and they were fit to be tied. None of them ever come to meetings. Suddenly, a whole bunch came to meetings. They wanted to attack me. Whoa, calm down. Okay, please tell me the issue here. Well, it's not fair. We're not allowed to use pool table. We're members. And then the board member said, well, no, that's not true. Many of the people that come here, the majority of them that are using this for these pool leagues aren't even members. They don't pay dues to be here. Why should they be allowed to use the table? Well, to be fair, there are members who are allowed to use the table. They want to have a pool league. So it's a fair argument. But anyway, so the board, I listened to what they said. I calmed everybody down. I said, okay, that's reasonable. And I went back to the board and I said, guys, let's take another look at this. The board agreed that we should take another look at it. And I convinced the board members, I'm just one of 5 on the board. I convinced the board we should change it back to the way it was. And the reward I get is this selective hearing, this bullshit, this amnesia. Here's what it is. These are people that want to run the organization. They have no concept of how it works. They're constantly carping about things that are none of their damn business. Oh, we need to know this. We need to know that. No, it's not your business. It's really, this is a condemnation on the world. Oh, there's a big super chat I missed. I was raised a political, gosh bless, I got to put my glasses on now because it's so far over there. Or was it over here? Let me see. Okay. Anna Kruger, thank you for 35 Rand. Put up with persecution in 80s all over Europe. They were rabid like mad raccoons, threats at hotels, shop beaches. Why, I have not even started. Okay. It's good manners to take your hat off except when you're a lady and in church. Correct. Or you're under arms. Is that $35? Wow, let me get that. People really do always get hurt the most. You're right, Mad Max. I mean, all these people I help, all the this nonsense, people. I look out for people. So I'm trying to protect women in particular from trolls who are trying to stalk them. And that's never going to happen. Really? Tell that to, what's her name, the actress who was murdered in Hollywood, from that show back in the day. I can't remember her name right now. Guy stalked her and stabbed her in her apartment. Unbelievable. Do you see me cock out a few on that Truth Report video? I still get crap for standing up for you against him. Loretta, I'm not sure which Truth Report video. Tell me the one I recently did, but yeah, thank you. By the way, for those who stand up for me in other platforms, I appreciate it. It's not necessary, but I really appreciate it. And realize you put yourself open for, challenges from these idiots, but thank you for that. I'm very grateful for that. And also those who post nice comments about my stuff. I appreciate that. So, hope your meeting went well. Oh, Mark, the meeting went very well. Very, very well. I wish I could disclose what happened, who I talked to, and where it was at. But let's just say it was in the heart of Washington, D.C., not far from the residence of the president. Let's just say that. You could throw a stone from where I was at to there. I'll leave it at that. Anton likes rolls. Joe Cocker. Okay. Super Dave, how are you? I'm okay, Super Dave. How are you, man? That used to be a dude. People are messy. Loads of rabid Maoris visiting Malawi. Oh, okay. In the 80s. Okay, I didn't know. Student 798, thank you for 35 Rand. William Miller, call family, thanks for your daily news and updates, Chris. We appreciate your efforts. I'm at that point in life where people just irritate me, period. William, I get that. Whole world has gone bonkers. Yep, people should wake up to this taxes all over the world. I wonder if there are any bombing waiting. Oh, yeah, South Africa is going to be coming. It's coming. Francois, still waiting patiently to hear back from folks. Francois, if you did the PRM email, and or the statement of interest, and you have not heard and not had an interview, and you have not done the intake questionnaire, I urge you to go fill out the intake questionnaire. Otherwise, you're not going to hear it. Got some news today from Refugee Program. Okay, good. There you go. Eloquent Neanderthal. Congratulations. Kevosaurus RSA. Thank you very much for the 35 Rand. Mad Max, Rise Against Evil. Which one is that now? My goodness. And boy, the super chats are pouring in. What's going on here today, folks? Very bad things happening in South Africa. Violent scenes. Oh yeah, I got that. Going to talk about that. Hang on, Mad Max. I'll get back to that. Yeah, don't run with the big dogs if you piss like a puppy. Exactly. I was raised apolitical. It helped a lot being a detective in SAPS, retired 94, ANC force man. Also see South Africans who don't understand why people are so stupid. 10 Afrikaners will start 5 different churches. Exactly. Can't they be one? Okay, internet sucks today. Sorry about that, Andreas. Just checking in, says May. Still not better. No way I can continue with Keytruda clinical trial. Next cycle, 17 December. I'm very sorry to hear that, Maze. I hope that gets sorted for you. Thoughts and prayers for Maze, folks. Maze, don't type if it's going to affect your eyes. Yeah, the same is going to happen in South Africa, which happened. It went from Germany at the Christkindlmark, running people over, to London, running people over on the bridge. People with machetes murdering British service members outside bases, decapitating them. It's going on all over the world. You will find it eventually in Ireland. You're going to see this coming. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. We've seen it in Norway, in Sweden. Colonel, their Afrikaans term you could use for people like that is tickle tuckle. Okay, Anton. Okay, Byron Banger, thank you for your service. Thank you, Byron, so much for that $35 super chat. We're a handful of trustworthy. Well, I wish we had millions who were trustworthy, Mike. How's it going? How's the restaurant business? 14 Rand. All right. Let me get to all these chats, then we'll get into the news. I got a lot of Bondi Beach stuff to talk about, folks. Don't run off. I hardly have time to watch my favorite Colonel's channel. Where do people get time watching gospel? Yeah, I'm with you, Julie. I'm going to run off quickly. Sorry, Quids. You're like my dad and his dad, Colonel. Very similar. I'll leave it at that. Okay, cool. Afrikaner's biggest downfall, they can't stand together. Everyone wants to be the leader. Yep. Slim Fung Saibus. Yep. Has your stats might change progress? Okay. Tigress, thanks for everything, Colonel Chris. You mean the world to us non-hate wankers. Thank you so much for the 140 Rand. I appreciate it. Rarely speaking shows, most I listen, says Vilma. Okay. Conversation with Infinity C says a lot about your character, man with a gigantic heart. Well, thank you, Anton. And that's who I am. That's really a reflection of who I am. I go out of my way to help a lot of people. And Just Another Girl gave a small cloud. Every cloud covers the sun and makes life more pleasant. Thank you for the 35 Rand, Just Another Girl. And Will says, hit the like button with that membership, super chat. Watching Goku fighting God of Destruction. That's interesting. We're here in Bluff. We love your stacks, Colonel. We're happy to do an interview when we're there. Thank you, Helen. Thailand, Cambodia fighting. Yes, I mentioned that previously. Emerencia Quinn, thank you for everything you do for us. 6 months. And then Bernard Croft gave a 35 Rand super sticker saying hello. First one. Thank you for that. And then we'll come back here. Then we got Debbie Fox. Debbie comes in again with her 350 Rand standard super chat, which we're really pleased. Did you see Rob Reiner's wife were murdered? Yes, I did see that. That's also one of the news stories I'm going to get to, but now I've killed 40 minutes here unintentionally moaning about things. Although I won't believe if you say I love your channel. Well, Julie, that's fine. I need somebody to be in South Africa to watch my channel. All right. So, I mean, folks, we can't just have, everybody come here, right? God. Well, there you have a message from the baby Wyatt instructing you about what's actually what goes on in this process. Quite complicated. G is stronger than South African grade 12. A GED simply means a high school diploma. It's the equivalent of high school diploma. Many people leave high school for whatever reason, and this was more prevalent in the past. A lot of people had to work on family farms. They were needed there. So they left, and they weren't present, and so they couldn't finish high school. Girls get pregnant in high school and leave high school and never finish, and so a GED is simply the equivalency of a high school diploma. So, I mean, I guess the question is it's the same thing if you graduate. It's not a matric, though. It's not a university entrance sort of thing. George went for the interview today. People helped us. Still thank you for them. Okay, Anna, that's good. Happy to see you've turned the page and are taking BS discharge. Yeah, no, Heidi Kruger, I'm not. I've been sitting back and taking crap from people, and they've been very abusive, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Yeah, so, and if people keep their shit up, then I will name and shame them. All right? But that's your warning. And you think that you're going to win this argument? Okay. How long is medicals? Joey van Wyk, I believe it's done in 1 day, unless you've got an issue with a chest X-ray and with tuberculosis or scarring in your lungs. I could be wrong. Someone can correct me on that, but I believe that's the case. Cinderella's back, and then I saw Bismarck Barry's here. Bismarck Barry's been around for a long time too. Okay, so let me play this video from about KZN. This is about, I have this for MK, but let's see what this is. I'm going to play just the audio.
Against their party. So they're expected to toe the party line. Mm-hmm. So, and you cannot see that if you see secret ballots. And some people would argue also that a secret ballot is not a good idea because it doesn't give voters the chance to see how their representatives vote, so that they can hold them accountable. Right?
Yeah, Zakela, so, my apologies for interrupting you. My apologies for interrupting you, Zakela. I just want to turn the attention of our viewers to the screen as we now see violent scenes playing out in the KwaZulu-Natal provincial legislature there. Members of the Umkhonto weSizwe party getting violent there with the police who's been trying to get them out of the legislature. All of that while we have our reporter, Nkosikona Malinga Mnisi there. I believe he's got the premier with him at the moment. Nkosikona, if you can hear me.
Look at that woman on the end throwing things at police.
In the KZN legislature.
There goes the guy's trying to throw a chair. I mean, how do you describe this other than animals? I mean, how do you describe that other than animals, folks? I mean, you tell me. That's animalistic behavior. That's not civilized behavior. Your guide's awesome. Just waiting for our tickets. We'll be joining soon. Can't wait for any. All right, cool. Apocalypse Ninja. That's awesome. Another 35 Rand came in. Look at that. Clouds are gathering. 508 people here. I mean, yeah, exactly. That what does that add to humanity? That is PE, where Andile Lungisa attacks someone with a water jug. It's just gone. Just gone. I must say I followed your advice like clockwork. My case went like clockwork. Very impressed and very grateful. See you soon. Trump O'Connor. Well, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Yep. Okay, so let's get to the news here, folks, which we've been promising for some time. Chaos as MK party members lose their minds. MK party member collapses amid scuffle after motion of no confidence in the KZN premier fails. It failed because it kicked all the people out. The MK party's notion of no confidence on Premier Tommy Ntuli failed amid high drama in the legislature. First, MK party and EFF members broke into a series of struggle songs for more than 20 minutes. 20 minutes they sang this disruptive nonsense. What does that have to do with governance? Nothing. It's attention-seeking by a small-minded crowd. A protest against Speaker Nontembeko's Boyce's ruling that the vote should be conducted openly. Of course it should be conducted openly. Why should you be afraid to admit that you are voting to throw someone out? They were then ejected for the disruption. After more than an hour's delay, order temporarily returned to the House following Boyce's meeting with whips of the parties in the legislature. Well, actually, I think a secret ballot is fine, to be honest. Yep. However, after the return, members of two parties resumed singing and were joined by MK party members of the public gallery, including Dudadzila Zuma Sambudla, and MK youth leader Quinzo Tsibani, when they voted that they should vote openly. She eventually announced that the voting would start and everyone sitting down would be counted as voting against the motion, while those standing at designated seats would be counted as supporting the motion. The motion failed when all 40 members of the governing coalition, the ANC, the DA, the IFP, and NFP remained seated, leaving only 39 members of the opposition standing. Chaotic scenes then broke out between police who were called to restore order and members of the two opposition parties. Just animalistic behavior. MK party member Notombe Beatrice Zamatsele collapsed during the commotion and was treated by paramedics. My goodness. This is just utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. No, and this is what rules South Africa. KZN Premier survives the motion, no confidence by one vote. Well, two votes, technically. But if one had changed, it would have been enough. 80 seats in the House. MK party has 37, IFP 15. ANC 14, DA 11, EFF 2, and NFP 1. So, the EFF with their 2 seats, the IFP with their 37 got 39, and they lost. Ramakopa named 7 international bidders for initial transmission projects. Adani, State Grid, and Cobra among consortiums selected, with local firms flagging for later phases because the capacity is no longer in South Africa. South Africa's tapped 7 international-led bidders for rolling out electricity transmission infrastructure on the first stage of its independent transmission projects procurement program. But how is that going to be paid for, Koji Senso? Who is going to pay for that? Where's the money coming from? I don't know. Is it the World Bank loan? Possibly. The presidency has defended its decision to withhold the Madlanga Commission's interim report. Once again, secrecy, ANC. Grunzilla says, what's wrong with my comment? What do you mean, Grunzilla? What's wrong with your comment? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What is wrong with your comment? I don't know what's wrong with your comment. Animals behave. These are other have some names that cannot be mentioned. Berto. 35 rand super chat. Endless misbehavior. Objectives. What is Grunzilla talking about? I see no messages deleted from Grunzilla. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. What's wrong with your comment? There are no messages deleted from you. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. There is one. My bad. Hang on. Oh, yeah. That's okay. Yeah, no, that's inappropriate because people will use that to tarnish this channel and claim that it's full of racists. Whether you intended that or not isn't the point. That's why your comment was deleted. I just saw it. So please don't write things like that. Yep. Yeah. So the moderator did the right thing there, and I did find it. Yeah, total disgrace. That's your government. That is your government in South Africa. That's what they're up to, folks. 469 people. People left. What happened? When I stopped complaining about things, people left? No, they're still here. 521. Do I need to complain more often? Yeah, but the Madlanga Commission interim report will not be released. Surprise, surprise. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya confirmed President Ramaphosa will receive the Commission's interim report Wednesday. He said the final report made to the public. The Commission will advise the President on areas of national security sensitivity and how those areas need to be managed. However, the report the President received on 17 December will not be made public, and the reasoning is simple to understand. Some who have come before the Commission will be called back to continue with their evidence. Some had evidence located in specific areas. Okay, that's reasonable, but the problem is we don't trust the ANC, and I suspect the final report will be classified. Remember, the Pala report is classified top secret. Why? What national security interests are involved in Cyril Ramaphosa's cattle ranch? Suzanne from... Where's this at? Why is it not coming up over here? Suzanne, thank you for the 35 rand. I can't read your full name. Suzanne Franco, I think it is. Yeah, you sound very happy in mood today. I don't know if I'm happy. I'm tired of dealing with idiots. Alan says the channel has many races. They just bite their tongue in the chat. Possibly, Alan. But just bite your tongue because we don't need that in the chat. Ramaphosa will release the final report. That's what he claims. Yeah, there's Vincent Mangwenya. Said the final report will be released. When? July of 2037? No free lunch, says Donna Makopa, as more price concessions for smelters are promised. Minister of Electricity and Energy, Koji Senso Ramakopa, fast looking like a frontrunner for new ANC leader, says that neither the fiscus nor the end consumer will be burdened by the cost of a free lunch for smelters. He's convinced the government will find a sweet spot to make the ferrochrome industry sustainable. But why did you wait until 19 of the 21 smelters were gone? You've been now in that position for a few years. Why wasn't this a priority thing before? DA takes the Lady R investigation challenge to the Supreme Court of Appeal. The parties argue the panel's secret investigation cast doubt on its independence, which I said at the time. It's not a legitimate investigation. It's a cover-up. The DA will take its legal challenge against President Ramaphosa's decision to appoint a retired judge to lead a secret investigation into docking a Russian vessel in Cape Town 22 to the Supreme Court of Appeal after suffering a blow at the High Court in Pretoria. Legal showdown started September 2023 when the party challenged his decision to appoint a retired judge to lead the independent panel. Yes, well, that's really not going to change things. The funeral for slain Madlanga Commission witness Marius Vlam Vandemeva will be on Wednesday this week, folks. The funeral of Marius Vlam Vandemeva, also known as Witness D at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, will be held Wednesday at Medley House in Brockpan after his fatal shooting outside his home 2 weeks ago. Cold-blooded murder. Gungubela openly defies Malatsi over the move to ease rules hobbling Starlink's SA entry. But it's not just Starlink, it's any foreign company. Deputy Communications Minister Monde Gungubela has openly defied his boss, Solly Malatsi, amid a directive that telecoms industry regulators can reconsider its rules. Malatsi released his policy directive on Friday that may pave the way for the entrance of SpaceX's Starlink, but not just SpaceX, it's other international companies. So here's the problem with this. Monde Gungubela. Is he ANC? I'm going to guess he is. Let's take a look and see. Monde, M-O-N-D, Monde Gungubela. Monde, oh, it's spelled wrong. They'll never find that. There we go. Member of the National Assembly of South Africa. He is African National Congress. So now we have an African National Congress deputy minister defying his boss. He should be removed immediately by President Ramaphosa. The purpose of deputy minister in the ministry is not to undermine his boss. It's to work with his boss. If he's unhappy with that decision, he can resign. But here we have another ANC party or ANC senior leader who is obstructing governance, and nothing will be done to him. Nothing. Well, the poultry industry is upset about AGOA, but it doesn't exist, so they should get over it. Astral, the major poultry producer in South Africa, warns U.S. trade tension undermining jobs, investment, and long-term planning. How so? How so? How is a non-existent trade agreement affecting South African poultry industry? In fact, it shouldn't affect you at all. Shouldn't affect you at all. South Africa's poultry is increasingly exposed to global trade politics, renewed uncertainty around Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, compounding pressures from rising input costs, disease risk, and weak consumer demand. Weak consumer demand, disease risk, and rising input costs have nothing to do with AGOA. That's your problem, your issue, nothing to do with us. Stop blaming AGOA for your failures. What is this? There were everything I said about the ANC. I do not think I ever heard anything positive since I heard of this party. Okay. China pledges to work with South Africa to reduce tariffs to zero on multilateral trade. Really? China is willing to work with South Africa to safeguard the multilateral trading system and promote the early implementation of zero tariff treatment for South African goods, Premier Li Qiang said on Friday. Li in Johannesburg for the G20 Leaders Summit made the remarks during a meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, that sounds good, except it doesn't work that way, and you can't. Because South Africa is a member of the Southern African Customs Union, and the Chinese are angry at Eswatini, because Eswatini still recognizes Taiwan as the official government of China. So there will be no zero tariffs for South Africa with China. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. They are not going to do it until Taiwan is abandoned by Eswatini. And at the moment, Eswatini is not banning Taiwan. So unless that changes, they're all in the Southern African Customs Union, and so it would cause a problem. Botswana, Lesotho, and Namibia also miss out on duty-free treatment over fellow trade bloc member Eswatini's diplomatic ties to Taiwan. China promised zero tariffs for Africa, so why is South Africa not getting zero tariffs? Well, because they're a member of SACU. I've told you about SACU. Yep. SACU customs deals are negotiated collectively among the 5 member states, which means none can unilaterally benefit from preferential trade exemption. Beijing sees Taiwan as part of China to be reunited by force if necessary. Most countries, including the U.S. and the rest of Africa, do not recognize Taiwan as an independent state. That's not true. The United States does recognize Taiwan as an independent state. They just don't give it diplomatic status. John Steenhuisen, South African Minister of Agriculture, said in a recent interview that duty-free access to China has been rendered quite complicated as the country is part of SACU. Yes. Yeah, so there is no zero tariffs for the ANC from China. But Julius Malema, who seems to know everything, except he knows nothing, is arguing for closer ties to China. Have I frozen on my side? Let me take a look and see. Let me see. Maybe it's me. It could be me. No, it looks like I'm doing okay. Yeah, it's not me. It's on your end. Internet can be a problem at times. Well, South Africa is realigning its trade policy amid global uncertainty. China and Middle East offer ties, new trade prospects. South Africa's trade relationship with the United States entered turbulent waters. The recently reintroduced AGOA Extension Bilateral Engagement Act has ignited fears in the country it could be excluded from benefits AGOA. It means higher cost doing business with the U.S., diminished competitiveness, and uncertainty that affects long-term planning. South Africa already has strong trade relationships with China and the Middle East, but they are often described as undersold. According to Trading Economics, in 2024, South Africa exported $12.41 billion worth of goods to China, mainly ores, slag, and ash commodities, iron and steel, and copper. Import figures from South Africa Revenue Service show that China accounted for 11.6% of South Africa's exports and 22.8% of its imports. Yes, interesting. But here's the problem with this, folks. This story in Business Day, which I think is a reasonable publication, I'm questioning it. They're saying that 2024, South Africa exported $12.41 billion worth of goods to China, but that's not what Trade Economics says. Let's take a look at what Trading Economics actually says. So where do they get their data from? Here is China imports from South Africa $30 billion during 2024. Not 14, but $30 billion, more than twice as much as they claim. China imports from South Africa. And $30 billion. Pearls, precious stones, metals, and coins was $13.45 billion. And raw material, ores, slags, and ash, $12.27 billion. Iron, steel, $1.9 billion. Copper, $1 billion. And then it goes on from there. Most of the rest is just rounding figures, almost nothing. So do you see automobiles in here? No. Where are the automobiles at? Down here somewhere. There's pharmaceuticals right there. Aluminum. But do you see automobiles, computers, software? Nothing. No. It's all this crap here. 13, 25, 27, 28 of the $30 billion is commodities. And there's lots more commodities down here. Fruits, yada, 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 salt, minerals, so all that. So almost the entire thing is commodities. Virtually no value-added material goes to China from South Africa. But coming the other way, it's all value-added stuff. So that is Chinese trade. Now let's take a look what the U.S. trade was. So that story by Andrew, who was it? Andrew. I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm not trying to. Andrew Pike. I don't know where you get data from because you said Trading Economics. I went to Trading Economics and it shows completely different data than what you reported. So let's take a look at what the United States trade was. Okay, United States trade with South Africa. We imported $14.82 billion in 2024 from South Africa. Notice that it's climbed significantly since 2018. Yeah, 2018 it was almost nothing, but now look at it, almost $15 billion a year. And that was, yes, pearls and precious stones. That was half of it. But then vehicles and other railway and tramways, $2.27 billion. And yes, iron, aluminum, ore is there. But machinery, nuclear reactors and boilers, $300 million. Interesting. So we actually buy things that have value added for South Africa, not just raw materials. The news here is so boring. Luckily, we have the Colonel. Sorry, the news is boring, Fonz. I can read the chat, but Colonel Chris is still frozen. Well, refresh your page. Refresh your page. No buffering. There you go. You said months back China won't give zero. Yeah, that's what I said, Krista. They won't give it. Now, I didn't say it was because of SACU, but that one I kept close to the vest. I wanted to see if anybody was going to tell the truth. Agricultural Minister John Steenhuisen says fake honey's a problem, and he's 100% correct. So John Steenhuisen is 2 for 2 today. 2 for 2. He's correctly identified SACU as the problem, why they're not going to get zero tariffs to China. But he's been lying and misleading the public for months, saying that we're developing new ties with China. We're going to get zero tariffs. Now, only after it hasn't happened for months does he reveal. And I suspect that he never knew, that he didn't understand what SACU is. I don't know. I haven't interviewed him. Every time I've asked for an interview, his PAs politely said okay, and then they politely just ignore me. And they never give me the interview. But he is correct, 2 for 2 today. Saku and Eswatini is why you're not getting 0 tariffs, but I don't think they'll ever give them to me anyway. And then the second thing is this fake honey story, which is true. Adulterated honey is not helping. Fraud-prone imports raise risk for consumers, beekeepers, and the integrity of local supply. 100%. 100%. Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen has confirmed that fake or adulterated honey products have so far been detected only in informal, non-franchise outlets, with no evidence implicating major supermarket chains. Fake honey refers to products that are mislabeled or adulterated, often diluted with corn syrup, rice syrup, or other sweeteners, and then sold as pure honey. In some cases, these products are inexpensive syrups packaged to resemble authentic varieties. Yep. They deprive beekeepers of their revenue. Between November 25th and 29th, last year, inspectors under the Agricultural Product Standards Act seized 1,059 honey-based syrups and 388 mislabeled honey products in Crown Mines, Kempton Park, Laudinium, and Marabastad. 2 wholesalers were fined $1,500 each. Yep, stay away from the adulterated honey, folks. Get pure honey. Don't get scammed over the holidays, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get scammed. It's a bad time to get scammed. And let's talk about that. Good news coming from Times Live pointing out some of the scams. This year's scams, a card not present scam. Fraudsters create fake websites or replicas of existing and trusted websites to trick you into sharing your card details, your expiry date, and your CVV. You shop on the fake website, and then they use your data. Be careful. Make sure you can verify it is a proper website. Good deal scams. You're looking for a search for things, and you find out things are just too good to be true. Well, it probably is. It probably is. Research the seller and avoid those who are pushing for instant bank transfers. Phishing and smishing. Fraud is not always a single occurrence. Fraudsters may use time during Christmas, send out bait emails and SMSs containing links or QR codes disguised as Christmas discounts or end-of-year clearance deals. And you click on it, and you can compromise your banking details. So be very careful about these Christmas scams. Well, Cape Town, here's some good news for South Africa. It's not all bad news. Yacht to trot inside Cape Town's billion-rand boat boom. As global conflicts reroute luxury travel, Cape Town is building infrastructure to capture a new wave of high-net-worth visitors. That's the world's largest gigi yacht, the Azam, owned by Sheikh Mohammed bin Al Zayed Al Nahyan, president of the UAE and owner of the Manchester City Football Club. It's got a helicopter pad on it. Look at that. Look how tiny that helicopter is landing on that ship. Cape Town is positioning itself for a major leap in the global super yacht market with plans for dedicated super yacht base and a new Africa-focused yacht route centered on the city. They're predicting a surge in super yacht traffic and investment. Okay? That's their working group to promote the city's attractions. And here's the hull of a vessel under construction at the Southern Wind Shipyard in Cape Town. Cape Town already draws super yachts. Huge potential remain untapped due to fragmented regulations, limited marketing, infrastructure gaps, and a lack of unified industry voice. That's inside the super yacht Kiboko, designed and built by Southern Winds in Cape Town. Look at that. That's Gucci. Networking efforts underway with potential partners in super yacht corridor, including Mauritius, Seychelles, Madagascar, Namibia, and St. Helena, to have a shared strategy. That's a Dragonfly owned by Google co-founder Sergey Brin. Yacht owners are no longer just old wealthy men sitting on boats surrounded by beautiful young women as they sip expensive drinks in Monte Carlo. They're hughesyrich.com guys who want to go exploring on our expeditions. They love surfing and yoga. Well, good for them. Must be nice to be rich. Africa's richest economy is having a new relationship with cash. South Africa is looking at a new way to cash. Yep, cash circulating through Africa's largest economy exceeds 180 billion rand, except it's not the largest economy. It's the second largest, or 2.5% of GDP, and accounts for roughly two-thirds of all transaction volumes despite the growth of digital payments. Managing, transporting, and securing physical cash cost about 90 billion rand last year, a burden largely borne by consumers, with crime accounting for 13% of the total. The Cash Smart strategy aims to ensure that cash remains accessible to low-income and rural communities that have limited digital payment options and often pay fees up to 5 times higher than wealthier urban users. So we'll see what happens with the Cash Smart strategy for South Africa. Like so many other strategies, it'll probably amount to nothing in the end. Well, their diamonds were taken from them in Namakwaland, and they want to know why. They want it back. BBC runs a story. It says, disturbing contrast along South Africa's remote west coast. The 800-kilometer journey north from Cape Town starts with views of outstanding natural beauty, which, as the long road rolls on and the northern border approaches, dissolve into a pockmarked, lunar-like landscape. And the scars left by the lucrative diamond mining industry are not just physical. The impoverished local Nama community, living amid the environmental degradation in the far northwest of South Africa, also known as Namakwaland, wonder what has happened to the riches their land has yielded. Some of the hundreds of millions earned went on to build the country, but not much, it seems, stayed within their area. The Nama who straddle South Africa and Namibia are descended from the indigenous nomadic peoples, the Khoisan, seen as the original inhabitants in this part of the world. Despite winning a legal battle over land and mining rights more than 2 decades ago in Richtersveld, which is part of Namakwaland, many in the community argue that they are yet to see any benefit. Yep, that's Andreas Josef, once worked in the diamond industry. A century ago, the discovery by prospectors of precious stones south of the Orange River, which now forms part of South Board, and maybe led to diamond rush that changed the land forever. But the Nama already knew about the diamonds. They used to teach their children to count with diamonds. In 2012, Nama elders appointed this guy, Martin S. Fredericks, as their leader. 60-year-old says they urged him to fight for the return of their ancestral lands. They were once herders and traders until European settlers came and interrupted their way of life. The area they lived was annexed in the mid-19th century by the Cape Colony, and then after diamonds were found, they were cleared from the land around the Orange River. The African National Congress promised to change things, and they haven't done anything. Yeah, Louis Liebenberg story, Namakwaland. Yeah, exactly. Well, the Lions have secured Bone Venter, coming back from Europe to play. Yes, coming back from Edinburgh to play for the Lions, another big signing for the Lions. The Lions confirmed the signing of Springbok prop Bone Venter, who will join the club in July of 2026. He's currently playing for Edinburgh and will return to South Africa next year after leaving Scotland in 2021. He's also a Springbok. Iran's currency plummets to new lows, sparking fears of higher food prices. Iran's rial slid further money to a new record low of more than 1.3 million to the U.S. dollar, deepening the currency crisis. Wow, 1.3 million to the dollar. Not looking good in Iran. All right, now we get to the Bondi Beach story, folks. How many people we got with us now? Let's see how many people we got still. Well, we're not quite 500. We dipped off. So let's talk about the Bondi Beach story, folks. Panic moments that occurred when a beach celebration became a war zone. Two men toting long guns opened fire on hundreds of people who were celebrating Hanukkah on Bondi Beach in Sydney, the core of Australia's Jewish community, the city's Jewish community. Look at all those flags, man. And there's a wallaroo out there in the middle of it. All these people gathering. Makeshift memorial. This is today. Terrorists kill 15, wound dozens in brazen attack on Hanukkah celebration in Australia. Gunmen killed 15 people and wounded dozens more in a shocking assault at a Hanukkah celebration on Bondi Beach, the latest in a string of anti-Semitic attacks around the world, and one that led authorities in major U.S. cities to ramp up protection ahead of their own Hanukkah events this week. Australian authorities said the two gunmen were a father and son, ages 50 and 24. The older man was killed by police, and the other was arrested and remained in critical condition. Dramatic footage from the scene spread across social media, including clips that appear to show a bystander tackled by one gunman. At least 42 people were confirmed wounded, in addition to 15 dead. I produced a video on this, which hasn't seen a lot of views, folks. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I thought there would be a lot of views. It's a hot topic. But that video has only got about 11,000 views on it. A little surprised by that. 13,000 views now. So I think it's just my regular viewers who are watching it. 126 comments from it, though. So people are paying attention to it. Suspects who killed 15 have been identified. Yep. So at least 15 people killed, 42 others wounded. The bystander arrested the gun from one attacker has been identified and pictured as Ahmed Al-Ahmed, whose refugee parents had just arrived from Syria. The victims, the attack declared a terrorist attack. Those who were killed were aged between 10 and 87. One of the victims was a Holocaust survivor who died while shielding his wife from bullets. The suspects, the father-son duo, were identified by Australian media as 50-year-old Sajid Akram and his 24-year-old son Naveed Akram. The younger man was born in Australia, while his father, who was killed at the scene, immigrated to the country in 1998. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has vowed to put stricter gun rules. And as I said in my analysis video, a civilian videotaped nearly 11 minutes of this carnage from a safe vantage point in Overwatch position. If he had a firearm, he could have engaged these people and stopped this. In Texas, that never would have happened. Father and son used licensed firearms. Prime Minister says suspects act alone as he calls for further tightening of gun laws. Tightening of gun laws, really. Said the suspects were driven to commit an act of anti-Semitism by ideology of the extreme perversion of Islam, but acted alone. No evidence of collusion. There's no evidence that these people were part of a cell. Authorities identified the suspects, the father of six, had 6 firearms licensed which were found at the scene and used in the attack. Why the hell are you letting refugees come to your country from a place like that have firearms, 6 registered firearms? Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu has lashed out at Australia in particular for its climate of anti-Semitism. Of course, Australia recently recognized the terror state of Palestine as a state. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu lashed out Australia's leader on Sunday while nations expressed shock and sympathy over the mass shooting. at a Jewish holiday event, saying he'd warned Prime Minister Albanese that your call for a Palestinian state pours fuel on the anti-Semitic fire. Yep, absolutely. Australia is among several idiotic countries that formally recognized the terrorist state of Palestine in September during UN gathering world leaders. According to Palestinian Foreign Ministry, 159 countries recognize Palestine. The vast majority of the international community believes the two-state solution is the only way to end the decade's conflict. Except the Palestinians don't want a two-state solution. They want to eliminate the Jews. That's the truth. That's the truth. Australia declares the Bondi Beach incident a terrorist incident targeting the Jewish community. Australian authorities on Sunday declared the deadly mass shooting at Sydney's Bondi Beach a terrorist incident, saying they attacked deliberately targeting the city's Jewish community during Hanukkah. What we know about the Bondi Beach situation. The younger man is alive. He will face criminal charges, which suggests that he's going to recover from his injuries. Based on his medical condition, it's likely the person may face criminal charges. 6 weapons have been recovered, 2 of which were found at the Campsie property, so they had 4 with them. The 50-year-old had been a New South Wales licensed firearms owner for 10 years and owned 6 guns. The family of the father and son duo deceived loved ones about their whereabouts leading up to the attack, it is alleged. The mother of Naveed, Verena, told the Sydney Morning Herald that she had last spoken to her family on Saturday and was told the father and son were in Jervis Bay on the south coast. He rings me up on Sunday and says, Mom, I just went for a swim. I went scuba diving. We're going to eat now. And this morning we're going to stay home because it's very hot. No indication in advance that either man allegedly involved in the shooting or planning the attack. Very early in the investigation. Well, Matilda, 10 years old, is the youngest victim. Her aunt told ABC News, Australian Broadcasting Corporation, that her niece is a happy child with lots of friends. British-born Rabbi Eli Schlanger, Holocaust survivor Alex Klayman, a former police officer, footballer Dan Ekelem, and Slovakian national Marika were also among the dead. Sajid Akram and his son Naveed lived in Bonnyrigg, New South Wales, but police said they prepared for the attack at a short-term rental property closer to Bondi Beach. They both pledged allegiance to the Islamic State, and Australian PM Anthony Albanese said the attacks were motivated by extremist ideology. Australian-born Naveed had come to authorities' attention back in 2019, but an assessment found there was no indication of an ongoing threat or a threat of him engaging in violence. Really? Well, it sounds like somebody failed. Sajid, who died at the scene, is said to have been a part of a gun club owning a firearms license for recreational shooting. We've heard from witnesses. Shavi, 27, tells the BBC she dropped to the ground with her baby as bullets were flying above us, while Israeli tourist Kobi Farkash said, I heard boom, boom, boom 4 or 5 times. We were just sitting ducks, how the chaos unfolded on Bondi Beach. People hid under the counters and shielded their children as gunmen attacked Hanukkah celebrations. 6:40 shots began ringing out. Here is Arsen Ostrovsky, who was shot and wounded in the head. He survived. He was trying to frantically reach his wife and children. He could not reach them for 15 minutes. Eventually, he got through to his wife, and he has survived. Ostrovsky has survived. I'm going to show you a picture of him. Here he is in hospital. There you go. Arsen Ostrovsky. Ingrid says, I got my widow pension this month, so now I can give a little something for a bottle of Emerald. Thank you so much, Ingrid. That's not necessary. Thank you so much for that. Very kind of you. He said Austria 3 times. Yeah, well, they're not that bright. There's a lot of people that aren't very bright. They're in politics. Yeah. So parents of the man who wrestled the gunman to the ground is called a hero. Parents of a man who wrestled a gun from one of the attackers during the mass shooting called their son a hero. Ahmed Al-Ahmed, a shop owner in his 40s, was identified as the man who charged the gunman from behind, seizing his weapon, knocking him to the ground before training the weapon on the shooter. His parents only arrived in Australia a few months ago from Syria. He was shot 4 or 5 times in the shoulder during his actions to stop the attacker. What happened is his friend told him, let's go have coffee at Bondi. They got there and were shocked to see armed men firing their weapons at terrorists. Their lives were in danger, his father, Mohammed Fatah Al-Ahmed, told ABC. He noticed one of the armed men at a distance from him behind a tree. My son is a hero. When he saw people lying on the ground, the blood everywhere, immediately his interest in his soul compelled him to pounce on one of the terrorists and get rid of the weapon. At the same moment, the armed man's other friend was on the bridge. Whoever he is, I feel pride and honor because my son is a hero of Australia. The father said his son had been in the country since 2006 and was now an Australian citizen, but before he arrived in Australia, he worked for the police and the Central Security Service in Syria. In separate comments, the Sydney Morning Herald and Ahmed's immigration lawyer, Sam Issa, said the client would do it again despite having been riddled with bullets. Our hero is struggling at the moment. Revealing Al-Ahmed is recovering from his first round of surgery. He suffered around 5 bullet wounds that were across his left arm, but one which lodged in the back of his left shoulder has yet to be removed. It's a lot worse than expected. When you think a bullet in the arm, you don't think of serious injuries, but he's lost a lot of blood, and there are fears he may lose his left arm. Tributes for him, his bravery streamed in after footage of his actions went viral, including from President Trump. In Australia, it's a very, very brave person who actually went and attacked frontally one of the shooters and saved a lot of lives. He's a very brave person now in hospital, pretty seriously wounded, so I have great respect to the man who did that. A GoFundMe page has been set up for Ahmed. It's already raised $1 million Australian at the time of publication. Here's the Bondi Beach map, folks, in Sydney. The red circle indicates the crosswalk over from the parking where they set up shop. And the white triangle there is where the Hanukkah celebration was taking place. Unbelievable. World's a crazy place, ladies and gentlemen. An absolutely crazy place. Oh, bad clouds are gathering. Thank you for the super chat, Ingrid. Thank you, everybody, for the super chat so far. We've dropped off in viewers. What number there? 487. So let's keep on with the news here, folks. China's economy is deteriorating on several fronts. What have I told you for the last 5 years? China's economy is not sustainable. It will slow down. It has slowed down. It will regress. It is regressing. Nobody help their unarmed. Exactly, Barbie. That's my point. Disarming citizens. That video for 10 minutes and 38 seconds. Thank you, Mad Max. I'll get to that in a second. That video for 10 minutes and 38 seconds is someone that if they'd been armed could have engaged those people. He was in a perfect overwatch position. He saw them on that footbridge. Power went off in Pretoria. Okay. Guy survives Holocaust. A child would be murdered on a beach by a religious holiday 889 years later. Yeah, exactly. 80 years later. Oh yeah, Hendo, the female cops was unbelievable. They people. That was my assessment. That's why I made a video, not to exploit the situation with what was happening in Bondi Beach, but to report on it because my viewers want to know what's going on. I analyzed the police response. It was horrific. The police are shooting at them while they're behind concrete on the bridge. Why weren't they maneuvering to come around the side? I don't understand this. And then cops just come up, total chaos, nobody in control, civilians running up, beating the assailants, and the cops have no control. Female cops everywhere, the size of dwarfs who couldn't stop anybody. Yes, Australia recently acknowledged the Palestinian state. That's correct, and that's what Netanyahu was upset about. Let me get this Facebook thing very quickly. Mad Max is offering us here. What is this? Oh, answer it.
When about the Afrikaner people believed that they were on the brink of annihilation, when about 300 of our ancestors found themselves surrounded and outnumbered by 40 to 1, and they realized that there can be no victory and there can be no freedom without faith. And so our ancestors wrote a vow, which we believe are the most important words ever written in the Afrikaans language. And we want to share this vow with you tonight, because it is a vow that, as a result of what happened in that December, we commemorate and renew every year in December. And when Joost and I renew our vow, the Afrikaner vow tonight, we do this to honor the many people down in the southern tip of the African continent who are preserving our outpost of Western civilization, but also to honor the great American men and women who have made so many sacrifices here in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And to honor one American in particular, who goes by the name of Charlie Kirk, who has become a hero not just of America, but of Western civilization, and whose name will echo throughout the ages. And so with you as our witnesses, we would like to renew the vow tonight. Here we stand before the holy God of heaven and earth to make a vow to him that if he were to protect us and deliver our enemy into our hands, that we will keep this day and date every year as a day of thanksgiving, like a Sabbath, and that we will build a house to honor him where it pleases him, and that we will tell our children to share with us in this for the generations to come. Because the honor of his name will be glorified by giving the fame and the honor of victory to him. Thank you very much to the New York Young Republican Club. Thank you to your incredible president, Stefano Forte, and may God continue to bless this great country that once was and will continue to be a beacon of light for the Western world.
So Ernst Rhodes there in New York, so that's what he's doing. He didn't respond to my message. I guess he's a little busy. So could one also argue that disarmament of the population is the reason events like this? Yes, you can argue that. It's exactly the argument I make in my video, Jaya. Yep. You're not alone in waiting. Charlie Kirk was still okay. Question are you referring to? So it says, see cops make a pig's ear protecting victims of Bondi Beach. Yep. Yes, waiting and have to smile. What you say is what I want to hear. Trust the process. Okay, Wendy. Everyone else, I don't think it'll be safe anywhere. Yep. Gaia says a female cop crouched behind a car, didn't engage the shooter. Female. Yeah, no, the response by Australia's police led to the death of many, many more people. They're inept. Where was SWAT? Does Sydney not have a special weapons and tactics team that responds on a moment's notice? I mean, how does a city of that size not have a SWAT team that responds to an event like this? They should have at least 4 SWAT teams, 1 in training and rest and 3 on duty rotating. I mean, I do not understand this at all. This is ridiculous. 10 minutes, people were killed. A lot of people died and were wounded needlessly because the cops didn't respond. Again, how can a bystander stand on or be in a position to record that for 10.5 minutes when an Overwatch position looking over the bridge where he could have clearly, if he had a firearm, fired at them and ended this situation? Also, the firing in that direction would not have endangered the public because they were firing towards the bridge. There were people cowering below the bridge, hiding under cars, and these idiots were coming out trying to shoot them. And the cops were shooting right that way. Who knows? Maybe the cops shot a few people. I mean, this was a cock-up of epic proportions. I don't know what's going on with Australia's police, but I'm now concerned about safety during the 2027 Rugby World Cup. I'm concerned. If this is the quality of law enforcement in Australia after disarming the citizenry, people aren't safe. People aren't safe. It would have ended less than 1 minute. Exactly. Screw social media forever. Like I said, I did a video a few years back. This guy came into a gun safety class where people were getting a safety class about the use of firearms. And the instructor was armed, and there were people there with their firearms. They set them down the table. They took a short break. This guy, who was a black guy, walked in and kind of nonchalantly sat down and reached down in the bag under the table and took someone's gun. You can see it on the video, and walked outside. But people noticed as he was leaving that he'd stolen the firearm. They said something, and they called the cops. And then people followed him out to the parking lot, and he turned to... did he try to run people down the car? He turned to shoot. Anyway, the bottom line is that 3 of the people in the classroom, including the instructor and 2 of the students, when he tried to kill them, or he tried to attack a cop. That's what it was. A cop outside. The cop. He went to attack the cop and endangered the cop's life. And 3 of the Texans drew on him and gunned him down. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Exactly. The Australian police were very able to arrest peaceful protesters during the lockdown scam in Australia. Yep. They were dozing peacefully on a lazy Sunday afternoon. Yep. I didn't even think of that. No, now you're worried for the rugby. Well, Werner, the Rugby World Cup, I'm worried about it too. Yep. When I go to World Cups, I look at the in-point and exit and ingress and egress points at the stadium. And this is the problem I have with the UK stadiums for soccer. These are death traps. The UK has set up stadiums because of rowdy behavior from hooligans, soccer hooligans, that are death traps. You cannot get in and out of those stadiums in a fast manner. You are trapped. Someone could throw a grenade into a confined space and kill 40 or 50 people instantly and then shoot everyone who's still standing there very easily at these stadiums in the UK. Why? Because the morons don't have these exits. They have these turnstiles you have to go through, and you can't get in and out of these stadiums. So they can control hooligans. The UK is just waiting for an event like this at a stadium like Manchester United or somewhere like that, or down at Brighton Beach. It's unbelievable, the stupidity of the British when they approach this stuff. At least in other places, proper cities and stadiums, you can run from one place to stadium to the other and find multiple exits. Chinese economy, as I said, is deteriorating. Before Mad Max sent us that link. Chinese economic momentum slowed broadly in November with a marked weakening in consumer spending, adding pressure on Beijing. Hey, by the way, what happened to all the super chats? That was fun for a few minutes. Now they all stopped. Yes, Endo, this festive season attacks are coming. China's retail sales slowed to its lowest level since 2022, just 1.3% gain in November from the previous year, down from 2.9%. Industrial production declined. Fixed investment asset declined. Property investment declined 16%. Average home prices declined 2.8%, and the unemployment rate is 5.1%. Unchanged. These are vehicles produced in China awaiting export to places like South Africa, who no longer produce these cars because they buy the crap from China. Germany wants a divorce from China. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Yep. For 2 decades, Germany and China were an economic couple made in heaven, both benefiting handsomely from booming global trade. Germany supplied the machines China needed to make consumer goods for the rest of the world. Now China no longer needs Germany, and Germany wants a divorce. And there's some super chats. Look at that. Okay, Riffs Hards, 140 Rand super sticker. Bitter Enders got a 10 Rand super sticker. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Clouds are gathering. The West needs to stop turning a blind eye to Islamists, and every time attacking people, calling them Islamophobic when they point out Islamic terrorists. Doors supposed to open outward. Exactly. But they don't. That's a fire hazard too. It's unbelievable. These stadiums are a death zone in the UK. China no longer needs Germany. For the first time in decades, German business politicians are questioning the unfettered free trade that turned the country into an industrial powerhouse. Its manufacturers want protection from cheaper, faster, increasingly better Chinese rivals. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said last month that Berlin would protect domestic steelmakers from Chinese competitors. But look at this. German exports to China have always trailed, but they've been in sync. Now they're out of control. Look at that. Huge gap. And the Chinese aren't buying the German stuff anymore. Why? Because they have all the equipment they need. They bought all the quality industrial equipment they need to manufacture. Now they're manufacturing. Germans are stupid. They're really, really stupid. Germany has declined from over 20% of the EU exports, okay, inside the European Union, to now just 17%. And China, which had 3% in 2002, now has 9%. 9%, approaching Germany's share of the European Union's exports. Look at that. Denise said, just saw this. Saw a couple that was supposedly have their interviews in Cape Town. Has been a vehicle accident on the way there. They are both the hospital. How do we notify the relevant departments? Denise, send me very quickly the information on WhatsApp. Do you have WhatsApp? If not, send it to me an email right now. Post the email address. I will make sure that somebody's aware that that's happening. Okay, I will do that. Okay, I need you guys to very quickly. Denise Herselman, send me that. Tell me, give me the information in email. One of the mods, please place the email. Will's just put the email up. Send me an email right now, and I will get that out to someone who can reach out and hopefully let them know about that. Okay, all right. It's not Islamophobic state. There's a problem in a portion of Islam. It's a death cult. That's correct. As everything, it's a small part, but it's sufficient enough to raise significant alarm. Exactly right. And now all the mods are putting it in. Thank you for that. All right, send me an email very quickly with that information, and I will see what I can do to let them know. I need the names of the people. I need their names. You did say it's in Cape Town, so I will get that out to someone, hopefully, that can make sure that they're aware of that, okay? A mid-air collision nearly took place over the Caribbean, folks. My goodness. JetBlue flight near Venezuela avoids a mid-air collision with U.S. Air Force tanker. Associated Press reports a JetBlue flight from the nation of Curacao halted its ascent to avoid colliding with U.S. Air Force refueling tanker on Friday. And the pilot blamed the military plane for crossing his path. We almost had a mid-air collision up here, said the JetBlue pilot, according to a recording of his conversation with air traffic control. They passed directly in our flight path. They don't have their transponder turned on. It's outrageous. The incident involved JetBlue Flight 11112 from Curacao, which is off the coast of Venezuela, en route to New York City's JFK. It comes as U.S. has stepped up. We just had traffic pass directly in front of us within 5 miles of us, maybe 2 or 3 miles, but it was an air-to-air refueler from the United States Air Force, and he was at our altitude. We had to stop our climb. Derek Dombrowski, spokesman for JetBlue, said we reported this incident to federal authorities and will participate in any investigation. Our crew members are trained in proper procedures for flight situations, and we appreciate the crew for promptly reporting the situation to our leadership. But here's the problem. Airlines operating the airspace have been cautioned about operating there because U.S. Air Force is conducting military operations there, and they're not going to put their transponder on. It just makes them a target. So I appreciate JetBlue's angst. And in interest of full disclosure, I am a JetBlue shareholder, just a few shares, but I do have shares in JetBlue. So where the heck is my email? Okay, I'm over here. All right, so I am not seeing any update. No, I've not seen it. If you're sending me something, I need to see that in that email. No email has arrived yet. Cast victory. Jose Antonio Cast has won. The right-wing guy has won in Chile, folks. Jose Antonio Cast is elected president Sunday, is the latest conservative rise to power, promising strict law and order measures. Our idea has already won. They won in the United States, they won in Italy, and they won in Argentina. We're going to win too. Sunday, he finally did it. He's elected as Chile's president on his third try, scoring a resounding victory. A resounding victory. So what's the numbers here? I don't see any number here. Let's go back and see what that story says. A resounding victory. Let's see what the numbers are. How big a victory was it? Okay. He's a 59-year-old Roman Catholic. He got 58% of the vote. Woo! That is a huge victory. 58% of the vote. I'm going to check the email again, and I still have nothing. I'll check my spam folder. It shouldn't be there, but just to be sure. No, nothing in the spam folder. Go back to the inbox. Nothing there. Nope, I see nothing. Chile will be free from crime again, free from anguish, free from fear, he said on his victory speech yesterday. Guatemala has declared a state of emergency after an armed attack kills at least 5 people. Guatemala President Bernardo Alvarado on Sunday said he had declared a state of emergency in 2 municipalities in western Guatemala a day after armed men attacked a military post and a police station, cut off roads, and hijacked buses, killing at least 5 people. Criminal gangs are attempting to force security forces to withdraw in order to take control of the region. The state of emergency, first declared by its government, will last for 15 days in the municipalities of Nahuala and Santa Catarina Ixtitlan in the department of Sololo. So, state of emergency there. My goodness. Rob Reiner and his wife were murdered in their Brentwood home. Is it Brentwood? I think they're in Brentwood. It wasn't Brentwood. Yeah. I could be wrong. But they were murdered. The famous anti-Trumper, anti-conservative, liberal activist was murdered in his home. California officials families are mourning the death of Hollywood actor and director and his wife. Murdered at 78. Hollywood actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife were confirmed dead after an apparent double homicide in their home in Los Angeles yesterday. It's profound sorrow. We announced the tragic passing of Michelle and Rob Reiner. Heartbroken by a sudden loss, we asked for privacy during this unbelievably difficult time, the family said. The Los Angeles Police Department said in a statement that 2 people were found in their Brentwood neighborhood and that homicide detectives were involved in the investigation. Los Angeles Fire Department told the Epic Times they responded at 3:38 p.m. to a medical emergency at the 200 block of Chadbourne Avenue. Responders found the bodies of a 78-year-old man and a 68-year-old woman in the house. They did not officially release their names. However, the governor did. Yep. Governor Gavin Newsom confirmed that Rob Reiner's wife had died. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said she was heartbroken. Barack Obama said he was heartbroken. Rob Reiner, actress Roseanne Barr, she felt at a loss for words after hearing the news. I'm absolutely shocked and horrified to hear that Rob Reiner's wife, Michelle, this is a travesty, praying for swift justice, sympathies to families and children, said Roseanne Barr, who was a conservative, but Rob Reiner was a demented lunatic leftist, but no one should die in this fashion. Sad to hear. His son was arrested. I didn't see that, Philip. That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, when President Trump declared tariffs, he said it was going to make us billions of dollars, maybe trillions, and the economists predicted the economy would collapse. Both were wrong, and I was right. I said it's not going to lead to an economic collapse, and it's not going to create trillions of dollars of revenue from tariffs. I said that. Oh, my goodness. All right. When President Trump declared the highest U.S. duties in nearly a century, he promised that tariffs would revitalize American manufacturing, bring back middle-class jobs, and buoy the economy. Now, the Wall Street Journal is going to say that it hasn't happened. Well, it hasn't been time. The tariffs went into effect in August. Bringing back jobs to America in industrial capacity doesn't happen in 3 months. You don't build a new factory and hire new people from August 9th until December 15th. It doesn't happen like that. We are talking about factories that will start construction in 2026, 2027, and they'll come online in 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and then we'll see the benefits. And if a Democrat's in office, they'll claim credit for what Donald Trump put in place now. But to see the Wall Street Journal pretend that, well, there is no uptick in industrial and jobs and manufacturing, it's because you can't just produce factories. This isn't Sim City. This is not Sim City. I'm sorry, Wall Street Journal. Your journalists are idiots. Unbelievable. So, experts weren't sold. They forecasted peril for the nation's GDP expectation recession shot up. So in April, they said there was almost a 50% chance, 45% chance of recession, and I disagree with them. Yes. But then both of them were wrong. Now the chance is back down to about 23%. Look at that. Everyone got Trump's tariffs wrong. Not everyone, Chow Dang and Drew Anpam. Why do you have Chinese and Cambodian people writing this story for the Wall Street Journal? Chow Dang and Drew Anpam. Not everybody was wrong. I was right. 2 to 3 miles in the air. Is Arctic here? That is very close. That's a near mid-air collision. Tom Homan, the border czar, has called on politicians to stop attacking immigration customs enforcement border patrol officers. They are experiencing a 1,150% increase in assaults on our government officials. Politicians should stop attacking immigration officers trying to enforce laws while putting their lives at risk, said border czar Tom Homan during a press briefing. I'm begging the politicians, the governors, and mayors who constantly attack these men and women, please stop. I don't want to bury anybody else. It's not a joke. We're all enforcing the laws. Not only I care about safety of men and women in uniform, I care about safety of those we're looking after and apprehending. I want you to remember at 3 o'clock this morning, I bet every one of you will be sleeping comfortably in your bed. These men and women will be standing on a dirt trail somewhere because the sensor went off. Is it just someone coming for better life, or is it a heavily armed drug smuggler? They don't know, but they're going to take it on every night across this nation. Yep. And great. Tom Homan is correct. These politicians are shameful and should be held to account. YouTube stopped your account. You had to enter a code to your phone access. That's weird. Let me see if I'm still live. I'm still live. That's strange. Sorry to hear that. Well, I got logged out of all my YouTube accounts recently, and I had to use the multi-factor to get back in. I'm not sure what that was all about. It didn't tell me there was a probe in my account. Just did log me out. MAGA leaders warn Trump that the base is checking out. Will he listen? Well, Trump has done a lot of things. He's pissed off people in the MAGA base. Some people who are demonically obsessed with Marjorie Taylor Greene are angry. Others are angry at some of the stuff he's done. As Donald Trump ate his crab cake lunch at the White House last month, conservative pollster Mark Mitchell tried to explain that there was a disconnect between what the administration seemed to be focused on and what Trump's passionate base supporters want to see. Sir, you got shot at the Butler rally. Mitchell said, invoking the really strong optics of Trump raising his fist in defiance after the attempted assassination. You said fight, 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 but nobody ever clarified what that means. And right now you're fighting Marjorie Taylor Greene and not actually fighting for Americans. Well, I disagree with Mr. Mitchell. Yep. His critique echoes a growing chorus of faithful MAGA supporters who have been raising concerns over what they see as Trump's second-term shortcomings. And what does Mad Max have for us? BizTech, okay, that's always an interesting site. Oh, it's not there. Cape Town has plans to build a $180 million security wall along the road that has become notorious for violent attacks on motorists. Yeah, I know. 180 million rand. I saw that. Where are they going to get that from? Yep, BizTech. I actually want to read it on BizTech, not on Twitter. There we go. All right, got it. Get rid of that. Okay, so Homan, MAGA. So across the conservative spectrum, a steady drumbeat of commentators have warned that Trump's coalition is weakened and the party is headed for defeat in November's midterm elections. Well, that's how things normally work. That normally the president comes in, he wins seats, he gets people on his coattails, and the first midterm he loses seats and sometimes loses control of Congress. Happened to Clinton, happened to Bush, happened to Obama. It's the norm. Yep. So we'll see what happens. Trump's top advisors take note of the criticism from within MAGA and is seen as part of a cyclical feedback the administration received throughout his term. One senior White House official put it. Trump's staff have planned for him to begin holding near-weekly rallies to tout his accomplishments after spending little time on the stump this year. 2 officials told the Washington Post, speaking in condition of anonymity, to detail internal conversations. But on his first stop in that effort at a casino in Pennsylvania last week, he again mocked the word affordability and downplayed concerns about rising costs. Well, I agree with him. Yep. And here's one reason why conservatives are unhappy with him. Donald Trump is calling for a downgrade of the dangerous drug of marijuana. Marijuana might not be on the federal government's list of most restricted drugs for much longer. Trump has told House Speaker Mike Johnson he wants to issue an executive order that directs agencies to move the drug from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, making it less dangerous. And thank you for the super chat. Sorry, Schoolman, and also Mad Max for the link and the super chat. Driving to Cape Town used to be such a nice drive. Now it's utter shit with all the roadworks as soon as you get into the Western Cape. 7-hour drive into 10 hours. Yep. Some people like it. Some people hate it, Trump said. Some people hate the whole concept of marijuana because it does bad for the children. It does bad for people, and they're older than that. So why are you trying to downgrade it? I don't understand it. Biden administration failed to reclassify marijuana. I urge the Trump administration not to make the same mistake, said Ted Lieu, a Democrat from California. Oh, my goodness. They all want weed. So here's another phenomenon, and this is the Wall Street Journal, to their credit, reporting this. I've talked about Chinese anchor babies, have I not? Multiple times over the past several years. I've told you that Chinese nationals fly to America on the West Coast and have a baby so they have a passport and an anchor baby. Now a particularly disturbing thing is happening with wealthy Chinese. They're using surrogates to produce children to get American passports to be heirs for their Chinese corrupt enterprises. I'm not making this up, folks. I'm not making this up. The Chinese billionaire is having dozens of U.S.-born babies via surrogate. Video game executive Xu Bo said that it has more than 100 children. Other elites have mega families testing citizenship laws and drawing on nannies, IVF, and legal firms to help them set up. Inside a closed Los Angeles courtroom, something wasn't right. Clerks working the family court judge Amy Pelham were reviewing routine surrogacy petitions when they spotted an unusual pattern. The same name again and again and again. The Chinese billionaire was seeking parental rights to at least 4 unborn children, and the court's additional research showed that he had already fathered or was in process of fathering at least 8 more, all through surrogates. When Pelham called Xu Bo in for a confidential hearing in the summer of 2023, he never entered the courtroom, according to people who attended the hearing. The maker of fantasy video games lived in China, appeared via video. Speaking through an interpreter, he said he hoped to have 20 or so U.S.-born children through surrogacy, boys because they're superior to girls, to one day take over his business. Several of his kids were being raised by nannies in nearby Irvine as they awaited paperwork to travel to China. Pelham was alarmed. According to people who attended the hearing, surrogacy was a tool for help people build families, but he was using it. Didn't seem like parenting. The judge denies requests for parentage, normally quickly approved for the intended parents. The court declined to comment on his case. Pelham's decision in the confidential case, which has never been reported, was a rare rebuke to a little-known trend in a largely unregulated U.S. surrogacy industry. Chinese elites and billionaires are going outside China, where domestic surrogacy is illegal, to quietly have large numbers of U.S.-born babies. Some Chinese parents, inspired by Elon Musk's 14 known children, pay millions in surrogacy fees to hire women in the U.S. to help them build families of jaw-dropping size. Xu calls himself China's first father and is known in China as a vocal critic of feminism. On social media, his company said he has more than 100 children born through surrogacy in the U.S. Another wealthy Chinese executive hired U.S. models and others as egg donors to have 10 girls with the aim of one day marrying them off to powerful men. This is sick. This is sick. And this is what the Democrats have allowed our country to become without regulating this stuff. Supersized data centers, folks. They're coming to a city near you if you live in America. Oh, yeah. Supersized data centers. Pretty scary stuff, I got to tell you. 427 people still here. Thank you for that. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it. Let's talk about these supersized data centers because they're going to hit Pennsylvania. So, this coal plant in central Pennsylvania, one of the largest in the state, was closed in 2023 after powering the region for 50 years. Earlier this year, wrecking crews blasted the plant's cooling towers and soaring chimneys. They detonated them. Rising from the dust in Homer City will be a colossal artificial intelligence data center that will include 7 30-acre gas generating stations on site, fueled by Pennsylvania's natural gas boom. So, a data center can draw as much power as a small town. An average operating data center takes 45 megawatts. By the way, folks, 45 megawatts, that is all of South Africa's entire electricity generation, one data center in America. If you want to talk about how insignificant South Africa is and how small it is in relationship to other things, the country is 6 times the size of South Africa's population in America. But one of our data centers is larger than all the energy consumption and production in all of South Africa. All of South Africa, the entire country. One data center. And it covers the town of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which has a population of just 56,000, to show you how ubiquitous electricity is in America. One data center, larger. Oh, I'm sorry, I said megawatt. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Sorry, mistake. It's megawatts, not gigawatts. I thought they said gigawatts. That's crazy. Yeah, no, sorry. Disregard everything I said for the last 30 seconds. I got caught in the MNG thing. Megawatts. South Africa has 42 gigawatts of generating capacity. Corrected. I stand corrected. And I corrected myself before somebody was a smart ass and corrected me. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, average data plants there. But this one here, the Homer City campus, will have 4.4 gigawatts. That's 10%. 10% of South Africa's electricity generation. One data center. One data center. Is my internet acting up again? Yep, it is. Well, good. Maybe you didn't hear half the crap I just said. Yep, okay. So maybe you didn't hear it. All right, thank you. Well, the guy's supposed to be here now, so... Yep, I think he's supposed to be here now, so hopefully he'll show up. Legal alien is here. Okay. Cool. All right, hang on a second. Let me get back to this. Okay. Looks like we're okay there. All right, so... oh, wait, it's acting up again. It's got a son of a gun. Yeah, it's definitely acting up. Yep. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Unbelievable. Okay. Yeah, now not receiving enough data. Oh, my goodness. Let me go check. I was almost through the news, too. Internet speed test. Let me see what I'm down to. I will experience buffering. Yes. Audio is good, but funny. Okay. Yeah, he is late. He was supposed to be here between... I have half a megabyte of data. 1.5. This is insane. Yep. So it's coming through. Hopefully I can get through this a few more minutes. 1.24 megabytes. So that's enough for data. Yep, that's crazy. I want to save that for them. All right. But you can hear me. That's good. Well, unfortunately, I misspoke, so hopefully you don't hear that part. All right. So, yeah, the amount of energy that's being used. So here's what I want to show you. Tech companies operating today. So this is what we have right there. So that is, those are tech companies and their capacity, up to 2 gigawatts, like in Chicago there. So that's what there are currently. Those are data centers across America. Now, a lot of them in Northern Virginia. Now, this is what they plan. Look at that. Pennsylvania and Northern Virginia will be saturated with these data centers. Saturated. And there's a 4.4 gigawatt one. There's a 10 gigawatt one out there in Tallgrass, an 11 gigawatt in Fermal. Wow, this is insane. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going anywhere yet, so I've got a few more things covered. 11 foods that cause inflammation. Okay. All right. That's interesting. Chronic inflammation in your body is a problem. Your eating pattern can make a difference. So this doctor is Trisha Parisha, sounds like an Indian. So anti-inflammatory diets are backed by science. And this is what Arctic was trying to get at. Tell me to stop eating. Anti-inflammatory are whole grains, legumes, probiotic, green leafy vegetables, green or black tea, coffee, dark yellow vegetables, spices, flavonoid, rich fruits such as berries and citrus, nuts and seeds, extra virgin olive oil, and fatty fish such as salmon or mackerel. Things that will give you inflammation are ultra-processed foods, chips, packaged crackers, many frozen foods, refined carbohydrates such as white bread, sugar breakfast cereals, red processed meats such as bacon, sausage, hot dogs, sugar-sweetened beverages such as soda, sweet tea, and energy drinks, fried foods and those high in trans fat and saturated fats such as those found in many fast foods. They can trigger sleep apnea, gout, stroke or heart attack, depressive symptoms, dementia will come. My goodness, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Yep. And then Cape Town plans to build 180 million rand wall to tackle crime. But that's not going to solve the problem, folks. Along the N2, a road that's become notorious for violent attacks on motorists. The project aims to curb crime along one of the city's busiest stretches. Why don't they just have police stationed throughout that area and respond? Why don't they do that? That would be a lot cheaper and more effective. These responsibilities include maintaining footbridges, fencing, and road medians. However, Mayor Jordan Hill Lewis said the city decided to step in due to ongoing danger faced by motorists. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. I wouldn't hold my breath. Yeah, all the yummy stuff is bad for you. All right, that's the news, folks. That's what I want to get to. Did I get to all the U.S. news? Hang on. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yep, I covered it. Okay, cool. It's not that bad, people. Just a little bit of buffering. Sorry about that. Colonel Utley, your voice is calming. Okay? Depending on what company it is, you also need a high degree background in IT. Sent email, got off. Okay. All right, thank you. So, Got it. Well, that doesn't give me their names. Good God. Can you send me the link to where that's at? What is that? A Facebook page? I need that's not going to help me. I can't do much with that, Denise. Give me the link to the Facebook page. And then I'll try to do something. I can't do anything with that. That's just a screenshot. That doesn't tell me anything. Came to see what the buzz about. How interesting. You seem to be a highly intelligent, extremely accomplished gentleman. Very interesting conversation. Thank you for your program. Crispin Peary. That wouldn't be Crispin Peary, who's a spokesman for Durko, would it? I don't think it's the same spelling. Welcome. I like to think I'm highly intelligent. Unfortunately, I'm having internet problems right now. We're buffering, so sorry for that. My technician is late. He's supposed to come fix this. Well, thank you for coming, Crispin Peary. You should check out the content. Lots of things about the world, South Africa, U.S. What's your opinion about Arkansas? My brother is moving from Texas to Arkansas. I see Arkansas has lower cost of living. Yes, they do. Texas has no state income tax. That's correct. You're welcome, Phil Mahern. Thank you so much for the news. Have a blessed day. Colonel, I know you've talked about this before, but what's the story with the Somalians in Minnesota? What do you mean? I've talked about it many times. Is that really you, Crispin Peary? You're the spokesman for Durko? I've criticized you. If that's really you, I should tell you that. I should tell you I've criticized you. Interest of full disclosure, I've criticized you on a few occasions. Not mean-spirited, but, criticized some comments that you've put out there. So if that's really you. Yeah. So, well, wow, that'd be interesting. If that's Crispin Peary, I don't think you give press conference or interviews, but if it's really you, I'd be interested in chatting with you. And you can get information about me from the email. If one of the mods could put the email in there very quickly, I'd be happy to answer it. Got to go to local church and sign a petition. You got a thick skin. Well, if you really are Crispin Peary in that job, my friend, you'd have to have a thick skin. I need to have a thicker skin too. Oh my goodness. Mani von Roy, you're welcome. Kia le boa. Kia le boa. Bye donkey for your kind comments and kia le boa. Yeah, so let's see. Ronell says, have a blessed day. Okay, I know you've talked. Okay, so Somalis. So there's a scam going on in Somalia that's taking place in which about 84 people have been convicted. It's been going on for a couple of years here. Massive COVID fraud. The state legislature in Minnesota created this program, made it so easy to get money. Too easy to get money, and people abused it. They got money that was supposed to help people in need, and they actually pocketed about $1 billion plus of funds illicitly. I think 78 of the 87 people have been indicted or investigated or convicted in this case are of Somali origin. And Somali, there are 80,000 Somalis apparently in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. I didn't know it was that many. I thought it was about 60,000. And it's a real problem. It's a real problem. And so they're going after those people now, and they're making a big issue about it. Email sometime back. Okay. All right. Definitely. Thank you for getting back to me. I appreciate reaching out. I'm trying to convince the GNU, but the ANC in particular, to tone it down and work with things. All this talk about the U.S. Economy and tariffs and it doesn't matter. We don't need that. We're going to need it from China. It doesn't work that way. SACU is a problem. Not for me. SACU is fantastic. The world's oldest customs union, Southern African Customs Union, is fantastic. They share revenues, and most countries, aside from Botswana and South Africa, actually get net revenue from it. But I think Botswana's got money from it recently, so their economy's been struggling. But SACU, you have to have a collective agreement on tariffs, so you can't get lower tariffs from China until SACU agrees. SACU is not going to be able to get lower tariffs from China because Eswatini still believes there is Taiwan. Then so do I, but then I'm not a head of state. So yeah, that's a problem. So, well, I appreciate that, but I'm not seeing that from the government. I'm seeing ad hominem attacks. I've seen the president of South Africa mock President Trump. Yeah, bad things are happening. And it was intentionally published by the Government Information Services of South Africa. That's not a good look. Not a good look. I'm going to tell you, folks, that President Trump has held back on this, and I can say firmly I was in D.C. on Friday talking to people, and the U.S. government is exasperated at the position that South African government is taking here. So let's tone down the rhetoric on both sides. Let's get some adults in the room, Mr. Peary, and get it going, all right? Greta Hart, take care. And one of those will be good to have Chris on together. Apparently today hit 33 million visitors on Table Mountain. You mean all time, Garrett? Not this year. There's no way 33 million people went up. Are you serious? It can't be 33 million this year. Anyway. Apparently, okay, so I didn't know that. And then Charles Van Olsen's got the email address there. Okay. Wow. If that's Chris Imperi, I would be excited to talk to you. Okay. And thank you. See, I assume I'm going to take the guy at his word that that's Chris Imperi, all right? But anybody can write Chris Imperi in their profile. But if that's Chris Imperi, just said, it's okay, I have a thick skin if you criticize me. That's an adult. Unlike a few of my viewers who are throwing their toys out of the pram. You deleted my tweet. Well, it was borderline racist, and we don't tolerate racist here. I don't like racists. Yeah, no, gotcha. Would need permission, will consent and update. No, I got that. Okay, now I really believe it is him because he's I know how it works in government. We don't even have to do an interview if you want. If you want to chat privately, we can do that on WhatsApp or Zoom. There's some buzz around you. Yeah, freaking fleas, man. Oh, not that buzz. Folks, anyway, so there's some buzz around me, but I hope that people appreciate that I care about South Africa and South Africans, black, white, and brown, Christian, Muslim, and Jew, and I'm here for that. That's why I do specials on the Sutu Cultural Village. That's why I go all the way to Uppington and make a 3-year effort to contact Oma Katarina Esau to talk to the last first language speaker of the San language Nu before she passed away. She's still around. I go to great efforts to do this stuff. Will not have my portfolio position with I got you on that one. Anyway, so I've been highly critical of late of the South African government because of its public stance, and but I think it's fair criticism. And I got to be honest with you, I've been very critical of the ANC since about 2020. Anyway, but all right, so buzz around me. There's some buzz around me. That's interesting to know. All right, so discourse is the ability to agree to disagree. Exactly, Charles Van Olsen. There's the voice of reason, Charles Van Olsen. Speaking of the voice of reason, folks, no, it's not my internet speed, that's for sure. Speaking of the voice of reason, it's time for Baby Wyatt to interject about the refugee program from South Africa. So listen to this message from Baby Wyatt. Okay, where are you at, Baby Wyatt? Why is it not opening? Yeah, it takes time. There you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Baby Wyatt updating you on the situation with the refugee program. It takes time. Yeah, I know, Bloodcup. It's the baby beer. This is hilarious, isn't it? And when I was up in the clouds and at meet and greet with a crew of YouTubers, we could have sang for you, okay? Chris Oniep being infamous. I don't know if I'm infamous, maybe famous, but not infamous. Hester, you're welcome. Love how the metric videos show cohesion. Can't wait for the future videos when the kids realize the truth. Embassy published detail refugee program regardless done anyone who has not done. Yes, Wendy, that is correct. I have cautioned people. Look, again, I'm not promoting anyone leaving South Africa. Let's be clear about that. I've never been. I've just been honest about what's going on. I've told people from the very beginning what this is all about and honestly assessed it. So to be fair, if you are interested in the program, because I report the truth from both sides of the aisle, even though I'm conservative, if you are interested in the program, ladies and gentlemen, if you submitted a PRM email between February 10th, when it was available on the embassy website, and May 12th, when the statement of interest came into play, and then if you submitted subsequently a statement of interest or did not, regardless of what you did there, if you do not go and fill out an intake questionnaire, which has been available since the 4th of November, you will never participate in the program. You must do the intake questionnaire. And I caution you to read the instructions. The thousands email, well, I'm really playing with these glasses. I'm not used to wearing glasses. The thousands of emails I get, 70% of the people that are having a problem with that, or 80 or 90% are having trouble with that site, they're not following the instructions. I made a video talking about what you need to do. Follow the instructions very carefully and set aside time. Please do not try to do it on a mobile phone. It's difficult. It's complicated. You have to fill things in. You can make mistakes easily. Please try to find a PC or a laptop to do it and follow the instructions. And then there you go. So you're right, Wendy. You're right, Wendy. That is correct. Okay. Right. Joe Amelia was talking about what, Daniel? What was Joe Amelia talking about? Chris, did you hear anything from Flynn again? No, I haven't. Finn, I haven't heard from him again. Yeah, it was a good interview in D.C. I thought that was enjoyable. Absolutely, each his own life for the living. What is this? You only have one life. Exactly. And what's my advice always been? We're only on this planet for a short period of time. Hopefully there is an afterlife if you believe in it. Hopefully it's there. But make the best of your time here. Treat others as you would want to be treated. Yep. I'm curious to know what will Trump's reaction be called reincarnated. Well, Amanda, as I've said before, I'm pretty confident that there is a bench warrant for Julius Malema's arrest that has not been released to the public. And this is why I don't think you're going to see him traveling abroad. I think the Brits did him a favor when they banned him from a visa to come to the UK because they would have been obliged to arrest him. I don't have evidence of that. That's my analysis. I believe because his death threat, remember, Julius Malema threatened Donald Trump's life. I covered that story months ago. He threatened Donald Trump's life. And so you can't do that. So you can't do it from anywhere in the world. If you wind up in the ability of the U.S. government to reach out in jurisdiction and get you at a country that has an extradition treaty with us, you're going to be extradited. And I believe what would have happened is if Malema had actually gone to the UK, he would have been arrested and he would have been extradited to the United States. There would have been U.S. Marshals showed up in the UK to arrest him, to take him back and face trial for threatening Donald Trump's life. That's my assessment. I don't have any evidence for that. I don't have any inside with the FBI or with the U.S. Marshal Service or the federal courts, but I'm going to tell you that they take these threats very seriously. And the UK, probably knowing that, said, well, we can't give you a visa. And then they cocked the whole story up with the ambassador. Just my take on it. Mad Max says, Chris Imperi does not have a personal official YouTube account for his role. Yeah, well, that's why I said maybe it is the guy, maybe it's not. Oh, I'm buffering again. Oh, my goodness. Here we go again. I think we're going to get disconnected now. Let's just tell me I got 28 megabytes per second. This is nonsense. That's nonsense. Maybe it's just me. Might just be me, not live. Okay. Yeah, join December 15, 2025. There you go. See? Still live. Okay, audio and video is fine. That's good to hear. Okay. Well, it could be somebody trolling around. So if it's real, like I said, Light Rain, what's going on? Okay. All right. Okay, cool. Gina Haspel's warrant. I don't know. Yes, Amanda, he doesn't have to care about visas to USA. Fine. But if he wants to go to the UK and he gets arrested and extradited, that's the problem for him. Thank you, Colonel Mons. Still fine on my side. My son did his yesterday. I'm glad. Yes, I know the spelling was wrong. It's trolls having fun, probably. Notice how I went quiet. So personal accounts don't exist. Why would I use an official account comment here? That settles it then. Wishing all well. That settles what? What does that settle? People are just questioning your bona fides. That's no one called you names. That's a fair point. Question your bona fides. I mean, what's wrong with that? So I was interviewed by a media outlet in South Africa today. I sent them an email saying that they wrote a story about Thea van Straten that was had some incorrect information, and if they wanted actual information, I had information. And so they wrote back to me and they said, well, we can't simply take your word for it under journalistic integrity. We have to see your identity documents. I'm like, identity documents? You want me to send my identity documents? Well, send me an email, Mr. Peary. They already published it there. So my identity documents. Okay, so this is in response to a couple of stories they had on their website. And their website in South African media outlet said that they referenced a tweet. And my problem with this is that now I'm a known figure. I'm not exactly unknown. And they are telling me that they need to see my bona fides in order to talk to me as a source of information, which I find interesting because I think the truth would be more important. It's pretty easy to figure out who I am, what I look like, what I sound like, and who I am. You don't need me to show you my passport or my driver's license or my military ID card online. So I offered to do a Zoom session, and we eventually had a Zoom session this morning. So, but I couldn't see the journalist's face because their camera wasn't working on their end. So anyway, and by the way, I offered to record it and send it to the journalist, and did that. So my conversation with a journalist in South Africa this morning, I recorded it, and I sent it to them. Now, I didn't get permission to use the video, but I gave it to him. And I did it on purpose so that the journalists can go back and listen again to make sure they heard what I said. So there you go. When will USAB call me for a second interview? I don't know, students. Exactly, Philip Holtz. You don't send your documents to people. I mean, I get from the people I do subcontracting for, they want me to send documents. I'm like, are you serious? I mean, you want me to send it over open mail? I mean, that's got personally identifiable information. Oh, the chocolates. Thank you, Ray John. Yeah, it's just got distracted with all the news. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Advent's calendar. Today is the 15th, and this one's fine. Easy to find. It's right there. Found that one straight away. That is a teddy bear. Oh, I like teddy bears. He's got a little package next to him. There's a little teddy bear there. So that's the first one. And the second one. Okay, let's do the second one. Actually, I want to put the chocolate, the Haribo in the middle. I just don't like where it's at. So, not Haribo. Kinder Chocolate. 16, 24, 10, 5. There it is. Another one of the eggs. These are all the same. I don't really like them. Okay, and then the last one here. Look for a 15 on here. There it is, down here in the corner again. Okay, this one is a bell, though. Come on. Yep, no, it's a car. Oh, it's a Bucky. What's in the trunk? It looks like it's got dirt. It's a Bucky with dirt. Now my buffering again. Okay, not enough data. So, let me get a copy. Oh, it went off the screen. Good night, Vilma. Okay. Sounds a bit. I'm not sure, Blue Flame, what's happening there. Journalist with broken camera sounds suspect. Yeah, I agree. But that doesn't mean it is the case. Snow says refugees should not go without money. You won't get by. Well, plenty of refugees who arrived here with no money and they're surviving. So I'm not really sure where you're making that claim from. What's your source? Kruger Park, cool. I was mocking the chocolate? Debbie? Okay. Yes, Anton. If you can't get to the U.S. because of the refugee program, you can always come being extradited. It's always a possibility. Good evening, sick puppy. Husband's arrived last week. Your husband's what? Your husband's arrived last week. What is? I don't know what that means. Kruger National Park would be interesting, but I've never been. That's one place in South Africa. I've never, ever been to Kruger National Park, folks. All right. I'm trying to see what else you guys got in the chat. Anything I missed here that's important? Joe Mayo was talking about 2 new bills the ANC are busy with that will help them with EWC. Ah, okay. Thank you for that. That's helpful. Every step, we're also still waiting. Many are, but people just keep submitting. Do not help by clogging the system. Okay? Okay? Ingrid says, only my opinion, but I think when President Trump says enough is enough and put his foot down, it's not going to be a soft and fluffy foot, but a Trumpster steel boot. Yep, I think so. I think you're right about that. Ron Poston thinks he can mock the president of the great USA and has a breakdown when someone mocks him. Exactly. Exactly. You're right about that. Song time. Sure. Let's see, we got songs here. Now, the one I played earlier didn't seem like the right one. The Lying Dutchman. Okay, we can do ANC has foot and mouth disease. Lying Dutchman. Let's do something else here. Let me go. Suno. Where's my Suno at? Well, the data is not going through, man. This is a problem here. Okay, let me go to my library. Let's see what we got here. Lying Dutchman. Oh, working without compensation. There you go. We'll do that one, okay? Okay, I'm working. By the way, those are distributed through my distributor now. Here we go. The Kelders, okay.
Are flickering at Luthuli House. The treasure is quiet as a church mouse. Got a stack of invoices on the floor. Creditors banging on the black and green door. The kids are crying, the fridge is bare. There's a tension hanging in the stale office air. We don't want a banquet, we don't want a spree. Everybody just wants a bucket of KFC. Screen. We've been here before, if you know what I mean. 18 months we waited in line, running on empty, losing our minds. Now the election bills are overdue, and the party planners are coming for you. Working without compensation, it's a payroll disintegration. How can we trust you with the state of the nation when you can't meet a simple obligation? Working without compensation, total financial stagnation. You wanna run the country, you wanna lead the way, but you can't. Hard-working staff left out in the cold. Stories of funding that never got told. Did the wire transfer get stuck in the sand? Did Tehran run out of money on the man? Pick up the hotline, make a dash, go ask the BRICS countries for a little bit of cash. It's a bad habit, breaking the trust, turning the legacy into dust. 18 months was a lesson learned, but the bridge is already being burned.
Rockensburg people, okay. Cool.
They talk about policy, they talk about the land, they talk about taking what is in your hand. Look on the bright side, through the frustration. At least it is not yet. Expropriation without compensation.
I don't like Russell Stover chocolate. I don't like Hershey either. The chocolate snob. Thank you, Nicola. Do I need to have crew serve weapons?
Working without compensation, it's a payroll disintegration. How can we trust you with the state of the nation when you can't meet a simple obligation? Working without compensation. Just want a KFC. Kids are hungry. Where's the money? Did Tehran run out? Working without compensation.
Student, thank you for the 35 Rand super chat. Folks, with the buffering and he's supposed to show up at any time, hopefully he will show up. I think maybe it's time just to wrap it up for tonight. I want to just take a quick look here. Thank you all for the super chats. Thank you for the viewership and for the likes. And to those who are just nasty people, shame on you. I've never mistreated you. And if you think you've been mistreated, you've inferred something incorrectly. If you've been mistreated by me, you're going to know it and it'll be clear. But those people that act like children really need to stop. It's a tragedy, the way they behave. We all want to come and spend time with you next year on your birthday on my lawn. Thanks for the truth news. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right, Charles Edward Cook. Well, you couldn't spend time with me at my place, but there is a local park not too far away. We have a big braai place. We can have a braai there. So, all right, we'll do that in the spring or something like that. I'll order from Amazon, though. All right, thank you very much, Vanessa Blossom. Okay, you're very welcome, Charles. You guys take care and have a good day. Working without compensation. I got a little bit of compensation today on this channel, so thank you all for that. And we got 3,400 views. So that's going to do it for this. I've got other things to attend to, unfortunately. And so you guys have a lovely day. And we'll catch you here next time on Colonel Chris Wyatt. Cheers. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Thank you. Sorry. I was shutting down, so I had the sound off. My apologies. Chris Aylers just popped in the program. Thank you, guys. I got the mics on. Chris Aylers just popped in the program. He said, I'm here. He says, I have a problem with him. The problem I have with Chris Aylers is that he went on another program and said something. Yeah, I'm still live. Billy. Sorry about that. But it's all cracking up here. So the comment that I've seen, among other comments others have made, is someone was talking about me and you said I don't watch his cock anymore. I don't know why you say my cock. There's no garbage. I'm not saying any shit here. So that's my issue, and I felt personally betrayed by that. You and I had a private conversation, which I haven't shared the details of that conversation, but I have talked about on this channel how I've defended you when people were being abusive towards you back in the beginning when we first came on the channel. And also, we went out of our way finding people to come over to make sure you had access to a computer. So when you were frustrated and you're like, I'm just going to die here, I'm never going to get out, no one cares. Well, we did care. We went out of our way to try to help you. I coordinated for people to come over. They came over. You said they did. You got your question, your intake questionnaire in, and then you said something in a stream, and I lost about 30 viewers that don't come to my program anymore, not because of what you said, but partially because of what you said and because of what someone else said. And then you went and said stuff about me because your feelings hurt. That's not necessary. It's not necessary. I mean, if you're unhappy, that's fine, but don't say that my content is bad or it's garbage or crap because you're not happy with it. You were unhappy because a moderator deleted 3 of your messages and you were upset about something. And you have to be fair. In the early days you coming to the channel, you said some outrageous things and you were very much a Debbie Downer on the channel, and I didn't ban you, and we kept you on there, and you became a very productive contributor to the chat for a long time. You contributed to the chat, and it was very interesting to see you there. But then just recently, because someone removed 3 words, and that was a whole crap show on that day when I was called a liar, and I lost my patience. So there you go. So Chris Aylers, you're here. You don't have to comment again. If you want to come back, if you want to send me an apology privately, you don't even have to do it publicly, then I'll accept that. But I didn't attack you. I didn't abuse you. I didn't do anything. I just simply had a moderator that removed your comments, and then you decided to go attack my content on another channel. By the way, a channel that's attacked me in the past because my viewers attacked that channel. And when my viewers attacked that channel, I made them stop. But I still got attacked. But anyway, so it's not necessary for that. Let's be adults in the room. If we have a difference of opinion, let's have a difference of opinion, okay? Tomorrow is the day of the vow, geloftedag. So it's a time for everyone to just, chill, come back to the fold, and behave yourselves, and I'll behave myself. Yeah, Debbie says, I've always been there for all of us from day one. I've certainly tried, Debbie. I've certainly tried, but I've been getting betrayed and attacked by people. I'm not thinking about Chris Ehlers right now, but several other people. I outed one of them yesterday because he put himself in a public channel business and insulted me. Ken Ernston. Yeah, what a prick. You know, what a way to behave. I mean, that was unbelievable. So they do this stuff, but people do that stuff because their feelings are hurt or they don't hear something they like. Also, a couple other people whom I like a lot have not watched my channel a long time because I didn't spew their right-wing racist comments they wanted me to say. I'm not going to say that. That's not who I am. Yep, that's not who I am. And if you don't like that, then you're watching the wrong channel. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that 30% education standard is acceptable, but I'm also not going to sit here and say that all black people can only achieve 30%. That's just nonsense. That's a standard that the government... Chris, I did name you. I did name you. I just had that. You must be way behind the chat. You must be way behind the chat or the conversation. I did name you. I just explained all this. And I see you've changed your name back to Christine Ehlers again. That's fine. That's your prerogative. Anyway, yeah, life is too short. We enjoyed your... Okay. Oh, yeah, Mad Max. That's right. Yeah. You know, Chris asked me to do that interview. And it's a highly controversial topic that some of my viewers are not interested in. But I thought we could do it. I met Chris at Open Plus. Chris set up the Open Plus event for me. I'm grateful for that. That was a fantastic event. Really well done. And it was a nice time. We had a good photo there. Anyway, so Chris asked me to do that trans thing for some time. And Chris, we got it. Chris, look, calm down. You've just, and you know you can't put all caps in there. You just did a second time. Notice we haven't taken you out. Normally moderators would take you out. See, people are listening. All right? Something going on in your life that's not going well, and I hope it improves. You want me to rant about the ANC? Okay. Yes, and Mad Max said, all right, we enjoyed your interview with Chris, and we only cared for you. Exactly. And then you go on another channel and say bad things about me. That's silly. Why shout? Yep. Anyway, so I think that's enough. We've entertained this enough. I hung around long enough to address that. Now I've got a great connection. Look at this. Now I got a great connection. Now, when I want to end the program, I got a great connection. Thank you, Xfinity, my provider. Xfinity, you are hereby judged to be guilty of not providing adequate internet service. Fine $1 billion. $1 billion. Hey, Rebecca. How's it going? I'm not trying to shame you, Chris. I don't understand why you did it. And I didn't name you. You did that yourself. Anyway. But I did name Ken Anderson because that really pissed me off, that one. That one really pissed me off. I don't know what the hell was going on with that guy. I don't get that at all. Anyway, okay. Then stay, Colonel. Okay, Sally. Stay. You want me to stay now? We just played music, man. We just played some good music. Anyway, but seriously, I do need to wrap up. So T for 2 Rose. Good evening. No clue what time it is USA. Well, it's right there. 13:21 on the 15th of December, 12:15, and the temperature is 20 degrees Celsius in this room. It is a Monday, the first day of the week up there in white, right next to George Washington, the bust of George Washington. Just as I caught up with the live, Colonel Sides ended. No, Sven Stalbad, I'm still here. But my connection's been a problem. I've been trying to keep this thing going here, so it's really a mess. Everybody's on edge, okay. All right, so the Bugger Off Bunny is on the scene. Hey, I noticed the Bugger Off Bunny almost matches my hoodie or my sweater color. Yeah, that's why it's there. It's there, T for 2 Rose, 2 reasons. Number one, so I can see it, because I can look there rather than look down here and be distracted, look at my computer, see what time it is. But I can look up there. Also, it helps people focus. And quite frankly, I think some people finally develop appreciation for just what I do in this program, because they're like, whoa, that thing says 3 o'clock in the morning. Let me find one of my videos I did here, and there's a nighttime one. The truth behind the plot. Maybe this one will do it. Let me see. Play that one real quick and see if it works. Okay, I got an ad playing here. Get rid of this ad. It makes me a little couple cents there, so. Here you go, 1:58 in the morning. About a video that appeared from a Dutch documentary team that was in South Africa a few months back. Now, the video is called The Plot Against South Africa.
1:58 yesterday.
So, I think it's necessary to describe my role in this because they filmed at my site. So let me tell you what I know about this. What happened was I held a meet and greet at Opieplaas in Pretoria. I believe it was the 10th of May, 2025. And we had 300 to 500 people show up. Now, I didn't authorize or ask anybody from the media to show up, but word got out. CBS News was there. Newsroom Africa, I think, was there. I can't confirm. A couple other South African media outlets were there to cover my presentation, and also a Dutch film crew. They did come up to me at the beginning of this and ask if they could film. I said, as long as people don't object to you talking to them, I have no problem with that. You can film me if you like. They said, can we interview you afterwards? Well, what they didn't know, and the rest of the crowd didn't know, is that I had interviews scheduled with Thea van Straten, the first refugee interview ever conducted about South African refugees. That was scheduled in Pretoria East, and I had to leave there. Many of my meet and greets this year went for as long as 5 to 7 hours answering people's questions. Now, I've been doing meet and greets forever. It's interesting that in this video, the documentary production doesn't bother to mention my name, doesn't mention my bona fides, doesn't mention who I am. They just call me an influencer. That's obviously an attempt to minimize who I am, my bona fides, and my background. This is what the media do all the time, instead of telling you who they're actually putting in here. In this video, The Plot Against South Africa, it's absolutely comical. This guy was like a leopard sitting around waiting to pounce on people. He went to the airport, tried to pounce on them and harass them at the airport, and he asked me questions. Now, you'll notice that in this documentary, unless I missed it, I'm not asked any questions. He's simply filming where I'm at. Now, I'm not put in a bad light, and I'm not complaining about that. So this is obviously not bitter grapes or sour grapes, bitter wine, sour grapes. I'm not complaining about that. What I am going to tell you is that this is a bogus documentary because the whole thing is full of information that was incorrect when it was gathered several months ago and is even less correct today. The record has been set straight many, many, many times. But this film crew, and let me talk about my interaction. After they ambushed me at my event, when I came from the Boer Mark that morning to go there, I showed up. They ambushed me at that event and asked if they could stay. And I said, okay, fine, I'm not going to kick you out. It's a public restaurant. As long as people say you can film, it's okay. You can film me. When they ambushed me, as I had to leave because it went on for a bit, I said, folks, I got to go. They caught me going out because I did say I would interview with them, so I stopped to talk to them. This guy kept asking me very pointed questions because it was pretty obvious that he didn't want the truth. He wanted to support his racist, leftist, Dutch, liberal narrative. And that's what I'll call it. Because the questions were, what gives President Trump the right to take farmers? And I said, first off, and I corrected him on the spot, notice he doesn't say retired colonel, intelligence analyst, journalist, independent media consultant. Doesn't tell you any of that about me in the documentary. And you can have the link. It's below this. You can go watch it if you want. He just calls me an influencer. And then when he asked me, what gives President Trump the right? And I told him from my position of knowledge and informed information. I said, well, the Immigration Nationality Act of 1980. But before that, he said white farmers. I said, first off, the program isn't for farmers. Go look at the embassy website. It's not for farmers. Since February 10th, it is stated for racial minorities. And it's not a program for farmers. He takes the video and tries to give you the impression that this is a scam effort for people to get out of South Africa. And also misleads people and lies. He blatantly lies, saying that President Trump has shut down the border people from war zones. That's untrue. That's factually untrue. I show the statistics. The numbers are very low, but Afghans and Rwandans and Ethiopians. So I did that video the other night. That has 34,000 views. Could have had a lot more. Anyway, so that's the one we call The Lying Dutchman. I made a song called The Lying Dutchman last night. That one's pretty good. Let's see The Lying Dutchman now. There's a country version. Let me, with The Lying Dutchman. Is this the country version? Hang on. Let me see if this is it. No, that's a country version. I don't want that. Well, that's a country version too. Here's The Lying Dutchman here. Where's the damn video at? There it is. Here we go. Yeah, the clock time was from the video. That's current time. That's 1 minute behind. Chinese clock runs out all the time. It's the Lying Dutchman, Bram Vermeulen.
Hear the rhythm of the drum is a warning sound we play across the Cape of Good Hope, nearly 400 years away. They crossed the mighty ocean with a plan they thought was smart, to confuse and to distract and break a good man's heart. Bram and his wicked crew, they step up on the shore feeling like they got the truth, but they just want much more. A mission to mislead on South African ground, but the truth is a lion and the lie's gonna be unbound.
Truth is lying.
Dutchman, yeah, he come a long, long way.
Spread his lies.
His wicked stories and darken up the day. He tell a lie to get inside, invade the space of all, but the righteous stand up tall and refuse to take the fall. The Lion Dutchman, his story feels so weak, just a nuisance to himself with the tall tales that he speaks. He came right to the airport where the refugees wait in line, sticking camera in their face, transgressing all the time. He traveled length and breadth from the mountain to the sea, trying to discredit Donald Trump and the land of liberty. Rocked up uninvited to the colonial's big affair in Pretoria at the meet and greet with mischief in the air. Tell a lie about the president, he whisper with a grin,
Lots of G20 songs.
but the colonel got character and he knows where to begin. Oh, the Lion Dutchman, yeah, he come a long, long way to tell his wicked story and darken up the day. He tell a lie to get inside, invade the space of all, but the righteous stand up tall and refuse to take the fall. The Lion Dutchman,
I never left Elmarie.
story feels so weak.
Chris Ehlers popped up and said he wanted me to name him.
Shame. That he speaks.
So we addressed that for a couple minutes.
He tried to set the trap, yeah, he tried to lift his bait, but the colonel would not bend, man, so he sealed his own sad fate.
His own sad fate.
Cut the truth right out the footage, like Lenny Riefenstahl. He wants a fairy tale picture, but the camera cannot lie at all. He bamboozled the pig farmer, say he got an appointment, see.
I heard from the pig farmer.
Balderdash, that's no reality. But listen what the breeze say, listen to the news spread wide. The people keep on coming where the golden gates abide. They're coming to America, land of the free, you see. No power in the world can stop their destiny. So take your tired stories,
right, Jan.
Lion Dutchman, and go. Yeah, your season is over. You can reap the wind you sow.
You like the Leni Riefenstahl reference there? Master propagandist stuck that in the song intentional. That wasn't the AI that came up with that. That was me, Leni Riefenstahl. Yeah, I do have G20 songs, lots of them, and here's one right here. So ANC has foot and mouth problem. Here you go, folks.
Whoa.
Well, down south they're stirring up a shiny new mess, spilling verbal diarrhea, putting diplomacy to the test. Yeah, they're poking at DC, trying to make the eagle mad. Acting like the playground bully is the best friend they ever had.
Then Ronald steps up, adjusting his tie, says, we don't need the USA, we'll let the Donald fly on by. He says we'll go our own way, we don't need a stamp of grace. While he's slamming every door right in his own face. Oh, the ANC is foot and mouth troubles, talking loud and proud, while the misery doubles, thinking they're a heavyweight, throwing punches in the dark, but they're biting off a whole lot more than they can bar. Yeah, the times are getting tough and the road is getting rough, cause the ANC has foot and mouth troubles. He thinks the world is with him, living in a hazy dream, but nobody's carrying water for a failing scheme. Marco Rubio stood up and he turned on the light, expose the race-baiting efforts and the fuss and the fight. You can't sway the big players with a cheap magic trick.
When the global scene is moving, yeah, it moves pretty quick.
You delude yourself thinking that you hold all the cards.
Now you're standing all alone in your own backyard. Oh, the ANC has foot and mouth troubles, talking loud and proud, while the misery doubles, thinking they're a heavyweight, throwing punches in the dark, but they're biting off a whole lot more than they can bark. Yeah, the times are getting tough and the road is getting rough, cause the ANC has foot and mouth troubles.
It's embarrassing for Cyril.
Yeah, stings a little bit.
He went down to the G20
looking for a place to sit,
but the nameplate was changed.
yeah, the story is cold.
He's been replaced by Poland, or so we are told.
Now the sun is going down on the yellow, green, and black.
And there ain't no use in trying to take the insults back.
No mice, no joy at Luthula House tonight.
No sway on the stage and not a friend inside.
Just foot and mouth troubles.
Bless their hearts.
Oh, the ANC is foot and mouth troubles, talking loud and proud, while the misery doubles, thinking they're a heavyweight, throwing punches in the dark, but they're biting off a whole lot more than they can bark. Yeah, the times are getting tough and the road is getting rough, cause the ANC has foot and mouth troubles.
ANC has foot and mouth troubles. Now, this is my effort at an Afrikaans song recently. Let's see how this one goes over. I don't line dance. I used to dance, but I don't line dance.
Die stofpad is lang, maar ons kom van ver. Honde staan in die lug, syne suiderster. Die saal is gepak, die atmosfeer laai. Ons wag vir die oomblik, laat die musiek nou waai. Mense van heinde oor die vlaktes en berg, vir 'n man wat sy siel in elke noot verberg. Om te hoor sing, om hier te sien, dis die tipe respek wat 'n legende verdien. Van die Sippies se storie groot verhoog, het jy ons laat huil en laat glo. Agter elke man tot die diepste teerkrom, dis jou voetspore vas op hierdie grond. Stuur jy die stem, die man van die dag, 'n rots in die storm.
dat jy die waarheid onbeskaamd vertel. 'n letterkundige gees met 'n pen in die hand. Jy skryf vir die siel van ons dierbare land. Beginsel vas teen die stroom en bly staan. Van die dae van Bruce tot in 7de laan. Dekades se passie, dekades se vuur. Jy gee alles vir ons, uur na uur. Ja, van Sippie se storie groot verhoog. Het jy ons laat lag, laat huil en laat glo. Agter elke man tot die diepste treurgrond. Is jou voetspore vas op hierdie grond. Stuur jy die stem, die man van die dag. 'n rots in die storm, 'n vriend en 'n maat vir die taal, vir die volk. Staan jy onbevrees, waar ander bly stil bly, sal jy die een wees. Oeh, Steven, jou woorde vind ons krag. 'n legende wat skyn in die donkerste nag. Laat die wêreld maar raas, laat die kritiese praat. Al ken jy die hart van 'n man van sy staat. Hy's meer as akteur, hy's meer as gesang. Hy's die stem van 'n volk wat na vryheid verlang. Steve, jy's die stem, die man van die dag. 'n rots in die storm, 'n vriend en 'n maat vir die taal, vir die volk. Staan jy onbevrees, waar ander bly stil bly, sal jy die een wees. Oeh, Steven, jou woorde vind ons krag. 'n legende wat skyn in die donkerste nag. Steve Hofmeyr, die legende, en woord en daad vir ons.
Steve Hofmeyr. I hope you like that one. Yep, that's a good one. And then here's Cyril's Big Blunder.
Yeah, man! Serious times down in Johannesburg. Watch the fire now. Listen! The horns! Oh, yeah.
Yeah! Cyril's Big Blunder.
The stage was set, the lights were low, for the big G20 show. Leaders coming from across the sea to talk about the world economy. Johannesburg was dressed to impress, ready to clean up the global mess. But before the first gavel could sound, a different kind of noise started going around. Now everybody talking about Cyril's big blunder. He lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. The Kineon see politicians step up to the mic, spewing out words that nobody like. They open their mouths and the fire jump out, insulting America, scream and shout. They're telling tall tales, they're telling the lies, right there under the African skies. And the media catch it, they run with the ball, they amplify the noise until the whole thing fall off. Talking about Cyril's big blunder, he lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah. Watch the
Thanks, Quids, for the 140 Rand Super Chat. Clouds are gathering.
He cracking that smile, that devious grin, while the diplomatic ice is getting very thin. You think the eagle gonna take that heat? Nah, sir, they won't take a seat. Uncle Sam at your Josie party. You chased them away, you're acting too hearty. It's Cyril's big blunder, he lied in the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down a bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah, yeah, there's staying away America now come to Johannesburg today. You set the house on fire, man, what kind of plan? Cyril, wipe that smile off your face. It's a disgrace. No, sir. No, sir.
Cyril's big blunder. What's the link is broken? What is that? Oh, what's going on here? 443. What the hell's going on here? I got logged out of Suno. Why is that? Will there soon be when we can chat interview? What do you mean, Gray Man? What do you mean by that? I don't understand the question. Why is it logging me out? Something going on the internet today. It must be Cloudflare. It's probably them. I got logged out and my stuff's there. Okay. Cyril's big blunder. That's messed up. Anyway. All right, so that takes care of that. What's that link that Max just said? G20 final report. Okay. All right, let's check that out. It is 174 pages. Wow. Make sure that saves. That's going to take a lot of reading. All right, well, thank you for that. Oh, you're coming to America. Okay, so I don't understand what you're coming to America. You sound like Eddie Murphy coming to America. Everyone on the stream somehow has their own trauma and troubles. Breaks my heart sometimes to care for all. I think the Colonel has taken enough abuse for now as well. I have taken plenty of abuse, Krista, that's for sure. You've not been buffering my side anytime. Ever? Well, I definitely was buffering earlier. I get disconnected a couple times. 174 pages of misinformation. Okay. Tall trees always catch the wind. Appreciate your time and insight into the things you talk to us about. Well, I like that phrase. Tall trees to catch the wind. Yeah, I should have said eventually. All right, so where are we at now? Quits, thank you for the 140 Rand. And Mad Max, the other 35. Sorry, Schoolman loves that song. Cool. Yeah, I put some effort into that to make that song for Steve Hofmeyer. It was pretty cool, I thought. So, yep. Anyway. No, I've been getting abused by a lot of people who've been misrepresent me over the years, and you know, it kills me. So look, I mean, I've said it before. There's plenty of people who say things I don't agree with. Plenty of people say things that are wrong. I don't, unless they're malicious, I don't call them out and abuse them, and I certainly don't, ignore them. I mean, I don't agree with. There's people I've interviewed who people have fallen in love with, whom I think are really just empty vessels, and I don't call them out. I mean, they're welcome to have their content. They're welcome to have people watch their content. Welcome to have them listen. Sometimes people just want a relaxing mode, Anyway, emotional. So every time the Colonel gets cap, I get teary eyes. Oh, Sally, thank you. Okay. What did Conrad say? Everyone in streams has their own trauma and troubles. Breaks my heart sometimes because I care for all. That's Krista. What did Conrad say? Conrad said something before that. Conrad says, it's both sad and good memories for you. Okay. Not sure. Okay, I missed something there. Alexi, whoa, is that right? Am I reading Alexi Guru? Alexi Guru from Cincinnati. Cincinnati, named after Cincinnatus. Cincinnati. Isn't it the Queen City? I think it's the Queen City, if I'm not mistaken. WKRP. Yep. Baby, If you've ever wondered, wonder whatever happened to me. I'm living on the air in Cincinnati, WKRP. Got tired of trying all the time, up and down the dial. Yep, WKRP in Cincinnati. Les Nussman, the turkey drop. Johnny Fever. Yes. Lonnie Anderson was in that too. Yes, WKRP was a good show for its time. It really was. Gary Sandy, yeah, good stuff. Guy had perfect hair, really awesome. Yeah, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's all right. I've been downtown Cincinnati. I've been to the ballpark where the Reds play. Yep, along the river. Yep, yep. Cincinnati's all right. Yep. Oh, that was your first crush, Lonnie Anderson, man. Lonnie Anderson. Let's check in on something here real quick. Lonnie Anderson. She died already recently, didn't she? Yeah, August 3rd she died. He was 75, yep. Lonnie Anderson, there she is. Lonnie K. Anderson, born 1945, same time as my mom, but she lived for 4 more years. From 1966 to 2023, she was active, an actress. She played Jennifer Marlowe on WKRP from 78 to 82, earned 3 Golden Globes and 2 Emmys. From St. Paul, Minnesota. Yep, she was married to Bruce Hasselberg, 64 to 66, Ross Bickles, 74 to 81, Burt Reynolds, 80 to 94, and Bob Flick in 2008. She had 2 children. Yep, there she is with Burt Reynolds in 1991, Emmy Awards. In 2019. Yeah, she died at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, metastatic uterine liposarcoma, on August 3rd at the age of 79. Yep. She did a handful of movies, but she did a lot of TV stuff. WKRP in Cincinnati. It's television films. Television series. WKRP, 89 episodes in 4 years. Yep. BDL striker, huh? Partners in Crime. She did Easy Streets. So never really had a big thing after that. Yep. But she performed for a while. Lonnie Anderson, dead at 79 a few months ago. It was your first crush, huh? Got back in the chat. Dutch documentary where I wonder if my southern friend working back in Netherlands TV News knows him. He trained there working national big shows. Okay. Yep. Yep. WKRP. All right, guys. Really, I don't know where this guy's at. He was supposed to have been here already. So typical. They're not showing up. So. And I confirmed it too. Don't go to Mozambique via Comando Port. Took us 3 hours. Jeez, that's a long queue. Only 1 official stamping passports. That's crazy. Well, it's summertime too. Yeah, Burt Reynolds passed away as well, Demi. He can't open the link in the Holland? Isn't that funny? It's on YouTube. Why can't he open it? Tell him to VPN, Mad Max. All right, guys. Really going to end it here. I got some other work to do. So we had almost 4,000 views. When I said I was dropping off, we had a big drop off and we went down a couple hundred. So, all right, you guys have a good evening. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. I appreciate your patronage of the channel. And we'll catch you guys. All right, so take care. All right, and be well. Have a good night. I don't think we resolved the issue with Chris. He didn't want to admit anything, so whatever. His issue, not mine. Cheers. See you guys later.